Sword of omens, give me sight beyond sight.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Wednesday. Wednesday. Wednesday.
Ready, guys? Look at it, just
Holy shit.
Oh, those goggles.
Dude, aren't those cool? She looks like she's ready to hit the slopes, though, bro. I'm serious.
I know. I can't wait for those fucking Apple branded ski poles.
What up, y'all? Welcome to this week's B2P. Let's go. Shout out to the pilot of the week, Ciati. Ciati be killing it, man.
Subscribe to his channel.
Hit that
Link
shit
in the
up.
chat.
I'm real curious, you know, Don, that's Darkwing, that's I want to hear about this rocket car. 99% complete. MSP, DJI
What up,
interface,
RZ?
and Arduino. What's
Welcome.
up, RC? I saw a bunch of I'm sorry. Actually, shout out chat. I can't forget. Gearhead, Juan Solo. I see Cricket in the chat. What's up? Motherfucking Darkwing and got a rocket car. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, he showed me a picture of it.
Holy shit. Reads receiver, PDM set ignition FET for rockets. What are solid propellant liquid? What's up, nerd copter? RZ. Is it solid propellant or see? You should have just came on the Zoom tonight and told us about this. You can hop in long enough to do that if you want. I understand if you're busy. I won't put you on the spot. Sorry. Next week, whatever. Fucking hell. That sounds cool as fuck. Gyro steering, because no human can drive this.
Check the Facebook chat.
Let's get ready. Oh. What the fuck? Alright, here, let me try to pull these up. Of course, I closed Facebook, because it's annoying. E-motors. Greg, can I show pictures? Greg, can I show these?
I don't care. They're not mine.
Maybe we should give him fucking what's up, Super Deluxe? What's good?
Darkwing, can he show you pictures?
Yeah, I was gonna give him an opportunity to reply. What, 20 seconds? We're on a delay. What else is going on out there, guys? Super motherfucking Deluxe.
He said yes.
I owe you a reply, actually. I was thinking about that earlier. Travis is bugging me for tuning information. Alright, where's those pictures at? Alright, let's see if we can show this shit. Yo, how about homie in the beginning of that intro? The dude in the beginning had every camera and a drone. Did you see that shit? That shit was funny as hell. When I saw that, I was like, damn. Can I make this full screen? What the fuck? I hate... Number one, I hate Apple. Even though I own tons of
What do you mean?
shit.
They have the best goggles on earth now.
Dude, could you imagine? Yeah, that's gonna be it. Next thing, people are gonna be trying to fly with them shits, bro. For real. Yo, not for nothing though. Before I show these, the tech in them is pretty cool. I mean, it's basically.
No, I'd love to fly with those things. That would be dope as fuck.
the tech in those those Apple VR is pretty cool. It's a M2 with fucking two 4K OLED displays, which is pretty impressive in an HMD. It's a high quality kit.
Oh shit.
But let's be honest, it's their pro set, which I would assume is more geared for developers, people making stuff for VR. And it makes sense for those people, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Vision Pro, or sorry, the Vision Air, you know what I mean? And the iPad, like the fucking app, MacBook Air, iPad Air, I would imagine you'll start seeing those for $1,000. It'll be the lower end headset because Apple, they're trying to sell shit. So this is Don's rocket car. Let's check. Hopefully I can click through these pics. Look at this fucking thing. So E-motors, that's a solid propellant then, I'm assuming. Is that correct? Look at this fucking thing.
Dude, look at that fucking thing.
Would you just look at it? Look at that fucking thing.
What possessed you to do this? I'm gonna make a rocket car.
Yeah, man. Seriously. Here, let me see. I think there's a couple more pics in here. What's the fucking ESC in this thing? Or sorry, it doesn't
Flux
need an
capacitor.
ESC. What do you have in? I mean, is it just a BEC to run the servos and that's it, basically? There's no electric drive at all to even get it rolling?
Sure,
Or how's that? Oh, shit. This is why I hate Facebook. Look at this fucking thing. Would you just look at it? Look at it.
And you said you wanted to send it up
That's crazy.
like a massive fucking ramp. Oh yeah, the 4-story ramp at a cement factory.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's pretty nuts, man. I hope it doesn't just fly apart or just fly away. When I was a kid, I used to stick fucking model rocket engines. I would build model cars, and of course there was no servos, no nothing. We just yeeting. We had skateboard ramps and model cars, and we would use whatever we could find, soldering iron, anything we can to melt holes in the ass end of the car so we could mount fucking model rocket engines in there, and then we would just set them off and see what happens. And,
I remember when you used to be able to go to Toys R Us and buy fucking model rockets. That was my shit.
You can still pick up smaller shit at Hobby Lobby and shitty places like that, but it's a lot more. Feels like it's a lot more challenging. I miss the good old mom and pop hobby shop.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to find model rockets. The Estes ones. You just went to Toys R Us or Walmart or Kmart. Any of those stores had them.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking crazy, man.
I love model rockets.
Well, when I was little, nobody cared that kids blew shit up. You know what I mean? And so we were little, we were we would scavenge, fireworks, sprinklers, anything we could get our hands on, and we ultimately started unwrapping the model rocket engines, grinding everything up and adding other shit to it, and then reloading the rocket engines to try to play with the entire thing, which most time led to disaster and explosions. So it's not cool. Probably by today's standards, you know what I mean?
3D print it. You can print the casing. I don't think you could 3D print the propellant. Does anybody get out fly some good packs this week? I know I did.
You said you did?
Yeah, I got some good ones in this week.
I did not fly at all this week. I spent all my time trying to learn how to balance Steadicam. Fucking so that was
yeah, I saw the pictures.
It's been
fun.
The fucking it's gonna be interesting. I'm pretty excited about it actually. I spent a good amount of time just working on the balance and trying to learn that part of it and get the technical side of it fixed, you know, and then tried to start working on the physical side of it, like in terms of actually doing it and not like just walking with it, you know, and like moving around in the motion and how it felt. Because like I got it set up over the weekend and basically got to walk around yesterday but for the first time and try to get a feel for it. And I didn't even have I didn't even set up a monitor. I was just like literally doing that, and I'm like, well shit, I should at least hit record and see what I get, you know. And it's an interesting way to FPV, so to speak, almost, you know, as far, or give somebody a first person view, because like you can get down in shit like in a way that's way smoother and natural with that than you can just like with a handheld video camera, you know, or film camera.
For sure.
You know, it's pretty nuts.
And then you'd run with some of those fucking things. I seen like the one that dude was holding with the in the intro.
Bro, actually, I almost sent you this. Yes, dude. I almost sent you this video earlier. I meant to send it. This dude, he basically came running out of a barn with one and being chased by all these fucking ducks. And he was holding it so the camera was basically down on the ground. He was basically underslung mode where the camera's on the bottom, and he was pointing to, so it was really low profile and all these, but it was sick, bro. He did some high speed shit where these fucking ducks were running, and he made it all slow mo. It was like 120 frame shit, you know, all slow mo down, and it was sick. It was these ducks running through the grass.
Gotta love slow mo ducks.
Fuck yeah, bro. And it was just like, yeah. It's the cool thing is, but like, yeah, being able to like, you know, if you were doing some like B-roll following people, man, you can like two people walking down the road having a conversation, you can follow them and it's like steady as fuck, you know, you can walk right with them and shit. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna get in shape because of this fucking thing. I can tell you that, man. It's like a workout. It's a serious workout running it, but it's so awesome. It's just like, that's worth doing. You know, like it's worth getting.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like seriously. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, those things look like big money though.
Well, I'm doing super DIY, so I mean they can be. I mean, bro, like the big rigs, you know, people carry a fucking RE, you know, they're carrying $100,000 cam. Those rigs cost shitloads of money.
Some of these cameras are the cost of a nice house, man.
Bro, more. I mean, it's not the cameras that they're gonna get you. It's the fucking lensing, man. Some of those lenses are way over $200,000. It's fucking crazy.
That's
you don't
insane.
buy a lot of people. You know, the only people that buy those are rental houses. You know, film houses like that are
fucking
renting
Star
them,
Trek
you know?
Federation, man. They're fucking looking into other dimensions. For that price, they better. Amazon order some black powder. Yeah.
Can they still ship that shit? Like, what's going on
Right.
there?
I have trouble getting vape, but I can get black powder.
Lipos are, you know what I mean? Like, fucking lipos are a problem. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with model? Can I order a case of model rocket engines? You know, like, how do you get that shipped? You know, like, what the hell? That's crazy. For somebody I'm serious, like, for hobbyists that are really into model rockets, how do they get their supplies? Like, how's that handled right now with all the chaos in the world?
I imagine it's like fireworks, where some states like are a lot less lenient than others. Like, I can go up to Maine and buy like any kind of fucking explosive firework that I want, but over the border you get arrested.
But I mean, dude, when I grew up in Ohio, fireworks were illegal, but I could buy model rocket engines. You know what I mean? Like, is there a correlation between fireworks and model rocketry? I don't know.
Explosives, yeah.
Well, but they never classified them as such. You know, because fireworks explode. Model rocket engines aren't meant to unless you tamper with them. You
True.
know? So that's
They just go fast.
ship's ground is hazmat, says Darkwing. Fuck yeah, that's interesting. Referring to moment of ignitions, they're definitely on Amazon, says John Solo. That's cool. I'm glad to see this still popping. I had a couple friends that were doing some sick fucking rocketry out west and trying to send some crazy shit up there, going for records. It was badass. Oh, I got another. Still getting texts from somebody who's having apparently having tuning issues. Let me see what the fuck's.
See John Solo's series of tuning. John, you're gonna have to, since you're learning to tune now, you can tune my drones. I still don't do that much tuning. Just enough to get my drones flying right. And when a major issue arises, I'm like, what do I do?
Sorry, I'm replying. Just
What's his tuning issue?
actually not a tuning issue. He's having a resource assignment issue.
On what firmware?
It's one of the. It's on Emu actually. He's having a resource issue, but it's a test target. So.
Oh. I'm usually lucky enough when I build a quad, like throw it on defaults and it flies all right from there, and I could just like, tune up or down. There's no major things I need to fucking change, but like this new one I got built is just no matter what.
I think
the default is just
with
pretty
Kiss.
much
Yeah.
garbage.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you too. Is this a fresh flash on the FC?
Not since I changed the ESC and motors, no.
You might want to try that to start, and then and just set everything up fresh. Maybe something's fucked. But so what's the motor KV?
1750.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah, not OP.
How old
They're
is the
underpowered.
FC?
I don't know. It was pretty much brand new when I used it. It just it was in one other build, and I took it apart and then changed the ESC and motors. That's it. It's a KISS Ultra flight controller.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with it.
Okay, so assuming that the FC is good and there's no issues with gyro and shit, so you change the
And
ESCs
that particular
and motors.
behavior wasn't happening
Mhm.
on the other ESC.
How are the ESCs set up?
motors.
Do you have any idea?
Those are brand new. Those
Are they KISS or are they BL
it's a
BL Heli?
Fox here Reaper.
Oh, it's 4-in-1. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you try plugging in what's the PWM on a Reaper at default and stuff like that? You know.
It was defaulted at like 128K. I lowered it down to like 48K, I think. 48K, 96K high. Something like that.
Does KISS deal with that shit well normally?
I don't know.
Especially like the variable PWM.
You know that's the BL, messing with BL Heli ESCs and KISS. That's still new to me. Like I've always had KISS ESCs or either and if I was running FATEC ESCs.
Well, it may not be bad idea to just try a static PWM. So set it to 4848, you know what I mean? And so it doesn't have any fucking weirdness going on. Try to set the ESCs up in the dumbest way possible with nothing special going on and just see.
I'll try that.
It would just be worth to try at least that because maybe KISS isn't dealing with it well for some reason. Because I don't know what the default is on KISS. Cement is
There's
out. He said he's
defaults.
working actually. There's a couple defaults.
Yeah, there's KISS Ultra default, there's Ultra default medium, and Ultra default high. And then there's KISS, like standard KISS defaults, which is like what you would get on a KISS V2 or FATEC board.
I've never gotten into the nuts and bolts of some of the setups in KISS. I have KISS. I've got it set up flying all right and stuff like that. But it's like I never got deep into. I didn't need to, and then since I don't have black box on the fucking thing, I'm just like, yeah, it's
What I
Kiss. I'm
noticed
just
is all
gonna
the
deal with
defaults
it.
for Kiss Ultra are quite a bit higher than your older Kiss setups.
In terms of PIDs or filters or
Yeah,
everything.
like PIDs. I don't really haven't really messed around with the filters on them too much. They're usually always set nice. I've never really had a fuck around with Kiss filters. They just kind of always set good enough to where I only had to mess with PIDs. I mean, sometimes I'll have to change like uh they have like a drop down box where they can it basically like it changes like all everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a slider type thing, but it's just a drop down box. I always usually pick the high setting and on all my quads and then fucking D-Shot 600 for I think BL Heli ESCs and I usually do D-Shot 2400 for the Kiss ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's an area I don't know enough about it. Like, as as far as like what Kiss expects in terms of how it's handling, like PWM and timing and shit, or what's good. Medium, medium, well, not medium, medium rare. Actually, nerd, you're here. Since you're still here, Travis is wondering if there's any reason why he couldn't assign a pin IO on that T motor target. I can't pull up the code right now. Um, maybe I can actually. I can't imagine that. I can't.
But I did
No,
manage to
whatever.
get
You're not
that
working. Fuck.
that behavior that I was getting kind of like mellowed out a bit where I can like do a nice punch out and it stayed like with its attitude. Before it was like do a punch out and it would like turn to its right a little bit
Mm-hmm.
as I punched out. Like it wouldn't wobble. It sounded smooth, but it would like almost like it had like torque pulling it to the right and it wasn't counteracting that torque.
But so far, all your PID changes have yielded the same result ultimately.
Yeah, until I went high on the I term. But then when I went high on the I term, I started getting like on pitch. If I did like a hard front flip and then stop flat, the whole quad would start going
Did you
and
raise
start shaking
Did you raise I term all around or only on yaw?
all around.
So
Yeah,
drop
so
pitch
that was
and
the
roll
next thing I
back.
was
Yeah.
gonna do, but it started pouring and thundering out like as I was doing that part. So I haven't tried it since.
I always try to break it down as and only do one axis at a time when I'm trying to do I try to if I look at it and I think okay, it kind of looks like it's mostly yaw or it's mostly roll, then I try to just work on that axis basically. And it's great when you have black box, you can really see what the hell you're doing with your changes and get it sorted with a little bit less work in certain regards. But it's important, even especially without black box, to be very meticulous and only do one thing at a time. Just do one axis, one change, and better, worse. If it's not better, go back to
Yeah,
where
it
you
was
were.
kind of like it was what I was doing was I cut my PIDs basically all down to see if that behavior got like exasperated even more, which it did. So I figured, okay, let's see what high PIDs do. And I was at the point of seeing just what all high PIDs would fucking look like.
Right, right.
And then that's when it started pouring out.
The okay. All right, I'll look at that in the morning, Nerdcopter. Thank you. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible it's not to find, or we can look and see what it needs to be. Maybe he's just missing something. Sorry. I'm like trying to do 5 things at once tonight. It's one of those nights. Yeah, fucking hell. Tuning. Well, yesterday, that's what I was saying. I was asking, it's like, you know, without black box, that's why I always kind of approach it like the Stingy way and just work on one thing and, you know, try to pull out anything that's questionable out of the equation. You know, if I'm working on something weird on roll, you know, maybe I'll just drop my I term and just check it real quick and see if that's, you know, there's some issue there. Fucking, I will raise my P or, you know, D depending on what's going on. But I only do one axis at a time to try to see, because sometimes, you know how like when you have something that goes weird, one axis will affect the other axis. So if you just if you fix the one, the rest will clean up, because something that's you know, going crazy on one axis can spill over into the other and cause oscillation, especially when there's oscillations involved, because that becomes a filtering thing and can affect more axes, and depending on where it is, can be worse on one axis more than the other. But yeah, I think that's the right track, man. I would just put pitch and roll back and try to work on yaw and just see if you can get that kick out. You know,
Yeah, because like if I fly it just default tune, that's the only major issue that I see, which was interesting. Because like if I were to do a punch out and then kind of like hold my sticks in a way that I would counteract that pull, you can get a clean punch out. It just, I don't want to do that. Fuck that.
well, the other important thing to remember is just keep an eye on it. And that's the weird thing. That's one thing I really dislike about KISS is their numbers are so alien to me. In terms of every
they work
other
off the decimal point more.
every other fucking flight control software out there, you know, is a little more easier. I feel like in terms of what the PID values are.
It's like,
but my point ultimately is just if there is going to become a point where, especially with like I turn, it's possible to have too much I as compared to P. Like I'm always talking about P and D and getting your main balance, but something that we don't talk about a lot is like, if you have a lot of I term and you don't have enough P, because I builds up error and then tells P to push to correct. And if you don't have enough P, or you have too much P and it's out, you know, it can go out of whack either way. You can have too much P and not enough I, and then you can get slow wobbles in forward flight and things like that. Or you can have too much I and not enough P, and you can get weird fucking bounce back and shit that's out of, because things are just out of whack. So it's important to just try to bear that in mind and understand that there is a relationship between all your terms, and P to I is something to definitely pay attention to and be mindful of. So if you're really going to start pushing I term, sometimes you might need to bring P up with it, you know, to get it sorted out. You know, what I would try in your case is like raise I, you know, substantially, see if I see a difference just on yaw. And if I don't necessarily, maybe try raising P, you know, and see if that's it, because you may not have enough authority. You know, the I term might have been okay, but you didn't have enough P on yaw for it to do its job. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a couple different ways to look at it, a couple different approaches to take. I think you'll get it. It's just, you know, as long as there's nothing weird, mechanical, electrical, filter, blah 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 going on.
Doesn't seem to be. No, I looked. I didn't see any like solders come undone or missing or cold solders. Fucking cap was on there nice. Haven't had any crashes on it, and it wasn't doing that behavior prior to swapping the ESC and motors. So it's definitely a setting somewhere in the tuning with the different setup, because I was using 2400 kV motors on a 6S build. No fucking like throttle cap or anything like that on that build. So it's different.
Well, and that would be a thing too. So like that's why I was asking if you did a fresh flash, because
No, I didn't. I should have.
If you had high kV motors on there, my first impulse was that you may have had to lower your P gains to compensate for the high kV. So, or just
I
lower
did, but I threw everything on default. So
okay,
that's what I do anytime I make a build change. Default the shit and then fly it and see how it flies.
Right. Yeah. I mean, defaulting those, when you do defaults, does it do the filters as well? When you do the recall defaults or whatever, and I don't know. Again, I don't know KISS well enough to.
I imagine it does, but I never looked deep enough into the
It's always
filters
something
on
worth a pay.
KISS.
Yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on that when you're doing defaults.
They're a little. The filter settings are a little little confusing to me on that configurator.
That's another thing I don't necessarily like a lot about Kiss, but
I have an easier time with filtering on a Betaflight and EMAFlight.
mhm. Yeah,
Well, there's
and
just more to see.
it's
Like,
fucking, it's like I said, for me, it's just like black box, man. If I don't know, it's just black box just gives you so many clues, and if nothing else, like once you get into some basics, learn PID Toolbox. It's the best thing ever. I'm telling you, like just to get an idea, and it's not hard. That's my best recommendation. But with kids, it's a lot harder unless you want to start soldering up a fucking logger, and that's a pain in the ass. So there you go.
yeah, it's a lot of guesswork a lot of the time.
But like I said, it's always talking. And John's been doing his thing with tuning, and it's super dope. I'm really glad to see that and fucking watch his progress with his tuning thing. It's super. It's a journey, and it's gonna take time, and you just learn by doing, like anything, And fucking
Like I know enough to like if a
Mm.
quad flies at default, good enough. Like I know how to like get it to fly
a bit better.
a bit better,
Right.
But like if something's fucked up and I'm like at this point it's like it's doing this and doing that. Like, well, what number do I fucking change to fix that weird ass fucking wobble, things like that,
Mm-hmm. I mean, and it can also be, did you change props, recently too? Like
No,
to a
everything
different
was fucking
style.
solid on that quad. It was like
Right.
I mean, minus the frame and the air unit.
I'm just saying, did you change like prop type? Sometimes you do that. Like a quad that's been flying all right can go to hell. So just that's the thing too. But
It's true, yeah, and I've had that happen. I can't usually on any of my tunes. I can't put buy props on them. That's always way too
buy
much for
props
them.
need their own PID setup. That's
Yeah,
from my experience. It's like on my tens especially. The big buy props on that thing, they need their own thing. But I love tuning for buy blade props. I feel like they're a lot easier in a lot of regards. They just have a response that just is easy to tune for. I don't know how else to describe it. Whereas tries can get a little more finicky, a little more
I haven't
funky.
flown many buy props. What I have never really liked too much. They have a lot of grunt, but like they tend to like not have any bite on like sharp turns as
Hmm.
much.
Yeah. Well, you don't get that. Yeah, they're made for moving fast and
So
not
like I'd
so
end up
much.
like if I wanted to like go around a tree, it'd end up like swinging out more.
They're not as grippy and cornering by a long shot. You don't have that. It's the best way I can describe it. That extra grip
Yeah.
especially in corners. Like I said, it's interesting though to see like when I when the tens when I start setting up, I always tune bi blade first because it at least gives me an idea of where things are, and then I try to take that and usually I'll rebalance D, in comparison. But the P games will sometimes need to change too. Um, it's yeah, because again, when you have more grip, so to speak, P is pushing the motor, and so the more grip you have, it doesn't that technically may not need as much P gain to do the correction. You know what I mean? And so something to you know keep in mind is that's why some people are like, I put bi blades on, it flies like shit. I'm like, yep. Yep. And but yeah, the cornering aspects are definitely a thing. And I mean, to be quite honest, like on Punch Out, my packs sag way worse on the bi blades than they do on the tri blade.
I believe it.
Way worse.
They have some good punch.
But they
I
do
love
have
the
some.
sound of them.
They,
Oh man.
they
It's
have.
like they make your quad sound like little muscle cars.
Yeah. Yeah,
Somebody
totally.
fucking
All right, so I want to trick it. So news wise, I don't want to totally just derail us, but I feel like we should keep it moving. New-
somebody's yelling at the top of their lungs on the street right outside.
right on. Uh,
I kind of want to hear what they're saying.
need one of them parabolic dishes with the fucking microphone in it. Like the spy people use. Fucking with a set of headphones. So have you guys been catching? It's been on a couple of the like Pilot Institute and a couple of 107 groups. in teaching forums. There's a bill. There's a bill in the House right now
Excuse me
where
one second.
they're trying to. It's kind of scary. Have you guys seen this DJI bill that's in the House right now at all? I lost Greg.
Be right there. 1 second.
Anybody in the chat you guys been paying attention to this DJI bill that's going on in the chat? I don't have the number exactly. I can look it up though. So there's a bill. You guys, I mean, I'm sure some of you are aware, like, you know, there's been statewide bans going on with DJI, and in concerning, you know, government usage of DJI aircraft in, you know, various places around the country in some of the states. Well, right now, apparently on the federal level, there is a motion in the House, I believe, to, there's a motion in the House. So you guys have seen, you know how they did the Hawaii ban, basically? Hawaii, am I saying that right? Or
Huawei.
Huawei? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Sorry,
It's
somebody
like
was like yelling at
Huawei.
the fucking top of their
well,
lungs, like right outside my house.
I didn't
Sure
see
that my car
JB's
was locked.
news, and I haven't seen JB's news or his take on it. So feel free to chime in and paraphrase, John, if you read it or saw it. But basically, they're trying to extend the same ban. So they're not writing a new ban. They're just adding DJI to the same ban as Hawaii. Hawaii, I can't say just
Huawei. Yeah, yeah, that was something I had.
Huawei.
Yeah, it's like I think Hawaii, but Huawei.
So the implications that are concerning with this, just to be on your radar, this really is just the verbiage is, as per government everything, it's way too broad. But effectively they're saying, you know, anything that's in all telecommunications and basically all DJI hardware will no longer be legal to use, period, in the US. And so it's definitely raising a lot of eyebrows. I'm really hoping to see some more UAV legal aficionados in terms of, like, you know, Rupert J. Law, the guy that was with, you know, RDQ on the lawsuit and stuff. Just see some more professional opinions on the entire, you know, and takes on the whole matter. But it's definitely something to be aware of, because this doesn't affect just your Mavics. This affects us. This affects everything. This could mean that technically my gimbal is no longer illegal to use in the fucking States, because the gimbal has telecommunications connectivity with apps and all that shit. And so that could mean that all that shit is done, including air units, O3, DJI FPV, transmission systems, the drones, the gimbals, everything, the cameras, everything done. None of it, no more. And on a federal level, that's fucked up, and that fucks us all in a big way if that actually goes through.
Damn, Walksnail's gonna be laughing all the way to the bank,
bro. Well, until somebody digs around. No, we'll leave it alone. Never mind. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut right now. Yeah, I mean, until somebody gets a reason, you know. It's.
But I mean, they had. If they put it on that list, that does.
HC0's out of Korea, right? Is that right?
It went from, we carried all kinds of Huawei phones, and they made some good phones. There was some good unlocked phones that we sold, and then one day they was just gone.
I mean, the problem is,
and you couldn't order them, you couldn't get them, but if you did want to get them, you'd have to order them like from out of the country.
It would fuck FPV guys, but it would fuck Cinelifter guys even more, especially the guys running Ronins on their fucking lifters. You know, all the fucking UAV technology that uses DJI gimbals, fucking, you know, big aerial platform drones that had, you know, underhang a fucking R2 underneath of them, man. I mean, that's what what are your options? Autel, free fly for your, you know, you're back to like your big fucking extremely expensive
big thing.
companies.
Like, what the fuck is, like, they want to ban all this stuff, but like, what do they have to offer us? And you know, we don't have like something in, you know, comparison to the fucking O3 air unit that's American made that we could fucking use. So, it's stupid.
You know, look, I mean, I dislike a lot of DJI's business practices, but I don't want to see them get banned. I like to see the availability, you know, be maintained. I mean, like I said, they are the right tool for the job in many cases on in a number of different scenarios. You know, for guys that are doing videography and film, you know, terrestrial stuff, you know, gimbals, fucking steady cams. There's tons of steady cams. Like the whole Tilta float ecosystem is tied to DJI. And so, like, that's a big hit for the film industry if the gimbals suddenly become a problem.
It seems a very spiteful move.
God
Like,
knows what the political undertones could be.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
not even trying to
fucking-
speculate about that side of it. I want to talk about, like, you know, but yeah, man.
And like, I don't know, this is only the second time I'm hearing of it. The first time was on JB's stream the other day.
What
So, like,
has
I
anybody
don't
heard
know
anything
how-
further or more or less concerning? I've seen some people, you know, saying, well, they can't stop the people that already own it, or how could that apply to people that own it, you know, already own something, which would be good. That's great, you know, that's cool. Like, okay, I doesn't mean my DJI is no longer is illegal tomorrow, so to speak, but
It's not like it's gonna stop working, but like
you're
when
gonna
that
run out of
does,
spares. Yeah, well, yeah, if you're gonna run out of, you break your last VTX.
What are you gonna baby your last O3
I mean, this is gonna be
unit
like
quad?
it's gonna be like people are gonna be hoarding fucking DJI transmitters. I mean, but then it's like,
yeah.
who's gonna enforce it? You know, if it actually comes down the pipe too, that's a whole nother ball wax. You know, like right now, like I was actually kind of excited because NYC is working on a system to allow drones to be launched in NYC legally. And then I see this shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck, bro? I mean, but, you know...
Fly in your DJI unit, fucking cop comes and arrests you for communism or something like that.
It's... Well, I mean, it's just, you know, it just becomes another tax, but it's just like, what the fuck? The real problem is how do you get them? There's going to be an underground fucking DJI fucking, you know, underground railroad for DJI users. Like, what's going on? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
You guys want to buy some O3 units?
dude on the corner with the fucking trench coat, you know, fucking get your dildos here and your fucking DJIs here and your rocks there or whatever. I don't even know, bro. Like, what the fuck? It's crazy. So that's on the radar, and that's a pretty, like I said, it's definitely something to pay attention to, and maybe, if need be, write your fucking representatives. You know,
There's gonna be a lot of fucking angry people. It's not gonna be as under the rug
Oh,
as
it won't be
banning
pretty.
banning an obscure cell phone company.
I mean,
That'll start an uproar. Like you think we're talking about it and being a little bit salty about it. A lot of us don't use DJI products beyond the O3 unit and the goggles. I mean, some of us, obviously, like you, use a lot of their camera equipment, but in the FPV industry, it's mainly just the air unit and the fucking goggles. Beyond that, if DJI got banned, FPV as a whole would not
you know
be
what it is?
affected because we have other alternatives in viewing. You know, we could still fly analog, we could still fly HD0 in Walksnail. But you're gonna see the larger fucking consumer base, which is ultimately aerial platform drones. Those people are gonna have a fit.
Well, yeah, because I mean, a lot of people are just getting excited. You know, like the agricultural guys, man. Those guys, there's some stuff in that sector.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
big
You
time.
know, fucking the aerial photography, and then like you said, the actual terrestrial, you know, filmmakers market. It affects a lot of people in a lot of ways. And like I said, city lifter pilots get boned big time. And the problem is, again, it's like, okay, it's great. I'll just use, you know, keep my phone and keep the app and, you know, because if they pull it from the app store at some point and you can no longer download it on Google Play or whatever, you know, it becomes a problem. It becomes a huge hassle, you know, and then it's just like, fuck it. I'm not going to, you know, I was going to say the reason why I always have an issue with DJI is like, I'll use my gimbal. It works cool. It's pretty good. You know, but it has some issues, and there's some things they never actually fucking addressed. And it's, you know, like, you ever buy a video game that has a lot of potential, but the devs just don't give a fuck, and it's just like you
Yeah.
threw your money away? That's how DJI makes me
Anthem.
feel. Anthem, bro. DJI is the EA of fucking shit. I'm telling you, in terms of like
Yeah.
aftercare support and just basically throwing away fucking people. Like, that's, you know, because like I said, like, you know, there hasn't, you know, so the Ronin, it does what it does. It's cool, whatever. But you know, as soon as the R2 came out, they just dropped support. Nothing further happened. No, you know, and then there was like little problems and things and just shit
Dude,
that wasn't, and it was
dude,
like,
there's
dude,
tons of that throwaway fucking tech. Like, for instance, smart home technology, smart lighting, smart thermostats and stuff. Like, okay, you could fucking buy a fucking sweet thermostat for your fucking house, and then all of a sudden one day you're just chilling, your heat goes out, you can't figure the fuck out why. Oh, you need to get an updated app, and then you go to update the app only to find out they have removed the app from the store, and they no longer support your fucking thermostat. And then, oh shit,
well,
it
that's
doesn't
like I
work
said.
well
There's the
without
thing
the
is,
app.
you get a new
Now you have
phone
to
and
go
you can't
manually
download the
pressing
app.
up and
Like, I'm already thinking about it. It's like, dude, because like I'm working on, you know, I'm working on my gimbal rig right now, and I'm like, you know, and I can't afford to buy a new gimbal, you know, and I'm trying to make the best of what I have, you know, and then it's like, what happens if I break my phone and I can't download the app anymore? My rig is fucked now because I can no longer program it.
Dude, I got
You
smart
know what
lights
I
in my
mean? It's
fucking
like,
ceiling that I can't fucking control anymore because the app doesn't exist.
well,
Like they're just light bulbs now.
look, what, you know, look at the problem is we don't really have any great tech manufacturing in the country anymore. You know, aside from the military. Um, is there a silver lining? Could it mean maybe somebody like Altel or somebody steps up, or we see more homegrown solutions? Can we? I mean, you know, and make it remotely affordable. You know,
See, that's the
let's.
problem with it. Nowadays, people are inventing shit under the name of a corporation rather than themselves. These people like that like the Einsteins of our fucking of our generations, fucking they work for pharmaceutical companies or fucking other things. They any invention that they create just goes under the credit of whatever company that they're fucking work for. And you never hear about the brilliance of fucking individuals now because of that stuff. So like you don't have individuals coming out and creating all this awesome stuff because they have under the supervision of their overlords. Nobody's just sitting in their fucking basement inventing shit anymore, and if they are, they're gonna get shot for fucking inventing it and their stuff taking it. And then the fucking company that shot them somehow has this crazy new fucking water purifying technology that came out of nowhere.
Like Tesla and Edison.
But
Um,
Joe's dead.
okay, well, on that note, shit. Trying to keep a chat up here somewhere. Well, you know, you're not wrong, and you're not wrong at all, and that is very said. America is dumbed down not only in an educational sense, but a fucking technology sense. You know, I was so excited to see where we were going when I was growing up, and now I'm like, fuck, we're not doing it over here anymore. It's all coming in from overseas. You
You'd think
know,
kids would be masters of technology.
it's like
Oh,
great.
I remember working at Best Buy, I can't count how many people younger than me didn't even know how to fucking like do a goddamn thing on a computer. Like, like what you grew up with it.
If we
This stuff was invented before you even were a seed.
all right, so we don't have a ton of time, so let's just fucking. All right, so you had a couple questions about Resolve, right? Let me fucking pull this up and let's do a quick little. Let's do a quick ask me questions thing, and
Let's see if I can share my screen. Oh, I can. This one, yeah, share that.
oh, can we both share screens? We can't. I bet we probably can't. It'd be cool if we could. Get rid of this.
Can you still see my screen?
I see your screen, yeah.
All right, cool. Playback work.
Hopefully my Resolve is going to open. Oh, I think I just heard it turn on. I just heard my... I have to mute this. Gotta be a way. Alright, so let me just pull up. Maybe I don't want to do that, or do I? I can just grab footage of it. Okay, I pulled up Resolve 2 just so I had it open. What's up, Aces? So we're looking at Greg's thing. So, you have an edit. Cool. It's pretty well flattened.
Yeah,
which is
yeah. Well, yeah, this is like I haven't touched this at all. This is all fucking flat out of the camera. All the shots should be fucking all the same because, like I said, the day was overcast.
I was actually saying your edit is flat. That's a term we would use when you don't have a bunch of shit all on multiple video tracks. You have basically your whole edit resides on one flat.
Oh,
track.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, your footage is also flat.
Yeah, that too.
Is this coming through all right? I don't know if I can make this any bigger. Let's see if full screen. Oh no, I'm in full screen. Never mind.
Need to move this fucking thing.
I wish I could get rid. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, so I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Well, I gotta color grade it.
So you want to start talking about grading a little bit?
I gotta make it look. I gotta make it look not flat.
And this was.
I don't know why it's not playing music.
I will say that sometimes you want to. Are you not hearing it? I'm not hearing it. I don't think we would hear it, but or we probably should hear it.
Yeah, it wasn't playing earlier either.
Well,
I'm not worried about the
if you're not hearing it, one thing you can always do is if you go up to where it says DaVinci Resolve really quick, if you go up to where it says DaVinci Resolve and you just go to your preferences and you go down the third one down, video and audio I/O, just check your system audio. And usually what I do, down where it says I/O engine, down a little lower, yep. Usually what I would do is set it up where it says output device, just make sure it's going to what you are actually using. And I will say sometimes when you update DaVinci or you...
I think it's because I started it after I had already joined Discord and did some weird shit with
it
my
shouldn't matter, but what I'm saying is the output device, I always set that to what you're actually using. So your Astros or whatever it is, make sure it's assigned to the actual thing you're using. You can use Astro Game, and then and if you don't ever have a problem with audio, sometimes hit save in the bottom. If you have a problem with audio and Resolve, sometimes when you update stuff and things of that nature, you will sometimes it fucks up. Sometimes even though you'll go into preferences and it will say it's set to whatever, sometimes I'll just change it, save it, change it back, save it, and it works. Sometimes you just have to kick it in the ass. That's maybe a Windows thing more than anything, but sometimes you have to do that every so often with Resolve. It happens. But that's definitely something you want to be aware of, and a place to go if you have a problem with audio. Without getting too deep into colors. So, I mean, you want to color it. So what I would do is I would just pick a shot you want to start with.
That's as good as any. They're all going to be the same, so I could start from the top.
Well, I like to pick a shot that you actually like a shot that you like. That's and that you feel has what, things you really are, you like it, you want to show it, pick a shot. That's definitely we call it a hero, the general term is you call it a hero shot. Pick a hero shot and try to just, doesn't have to be fucking
yeah,
anything
I
in
like
particular.
this shot.
All right, so just, you're on that clip. Click the clip in the timeline. Just make sure you click it, and then just go to your color page. I'm not going to get too crazy deep with DaVinci color management and things of that nature, but Here, let me close this really quick. Holy shit. Okay. So this is GoPro flat. This is from an 11 or from
An 11, yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of the best way we can do this together. How do I have mine set up right now, just out of curiosity? Sorry, give me 1 second. Do I not have any color on this fucking thing? Weird. Okay, well let's just start with the basics. All right, so you have a node, and within that node, you can do everything if you wanted to, right? But you don't want to. So what I'd like to do is start off with a few nodes, and so you can very quickly hit Control S. Wait, I need a Windows keyboard. Actually, try Alt S. I'm on Mac.
S?
I think is it Alt S? Yeah, try Alt S. Yeah, there you go. So if you hit Alt S, it's going to create a node after the node you currently are on. If you hit Shift S, it will create one before it.
Okay.
And those are important to know because sometimes you want to know, or you want to do just that. You like, I did this, but I want to put this before it for whatever reason. So that's a pretty good one to know to start building a tree. So what I would do is I would build, let's just start off with like 5 nodes. So just hit Alt S a couple more times, give yourself a couple nodes. Now, what I recommend you do personally is I assign in my keyboard shortcuts. We're not going to do that right this second, though. I don't think. Let me just double check. But what I like to do is I assign F2 to the function that I'm going to show you. So go to your first node and right click on it. Go to the, I think it's the second one down. Yep, node label. And type in exposure. Just EXP is fine. Type in EXP. Now go to your next node and do balance. Just like BAL. Yeah, or whatever. And then you go to your next node and do con or contrast. And then go to your next node and do primary or pry. And then while you're on that node, actually no, leave it alone. That's fine. And then go to your next node and do the same thing and do secondary. And what is it on Windows here? Let me just double. Sorry, I'm looking on my PC here. Oh. The only problem I have running my shit over the wireless connection is I can't click and drag. It's so annoying. How do I click and drag on? Okay. So if you click your very last node that says secondaries, I just want to show you another one. If you click on that very last node that says secondary, and hit, I think it should be Alt P. I believe, there you go, yeah. And so that creates a parallel node, okay? And so just rename that secondary 2 or something for now. Okay, so this is a basic node tree, right? And this basically, the reason why we're breaking it down like this is because we want to try to get in a habit of using one node per function, basically, or adjustment type, so to speak. So if you want to make some exposure adjustments, you want to make sure that you click on your exposure node. So start with that, right? Just click on it so it's red, and you know that it's that, right? So you're gonna what you want to do is start getting in the habit of just all things exposure you do in the exposure node. There's a gajillion tricks and tips and things that you of different ways to do exposure adjustments. Oh, this has a CST in here. Okay, I'm looking at what the hell I was doing. You know, we might try this. Okay, so but what I want to try to do really quick, without getting just trying to think if this will work. I can't believe I can't fucking. I'm trying to see what I can do over here. I need to Google it. How do I click drag using remote desktop? Fuck. All right. Anyways, my node tree is too crazy. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna start a new one. Okay, so let's try. We're gonna do something really quick. So, exposure is highlighted. I want you to hit Shift S. Okay, now drag that node up above exposure. Like, drag it up and above. And then you should be able to scroll. Quick couple of other more tips. Click up just above your window there. Click where it says clips. And for now, just turn it off. Just click on it. Just click on it. Just click clips. Yep. And then over to the left where it says gallery on the very left side, just close that window. Now you have a bit more. And then also click the timeline one up top above your nodes. Above your nodes. To the right. Above your nodes. There you go. Timeline. Boom. And I understand why it's confusing, because where it says timeline right there, if you click on that, you can change timelines. Just put that out there, or you can pull up clips, but we won't get in that at the moment. So anyway, scroll up to that one you just created. Okay. Now, what you're going to do real quick is you're going to go over to up top to the right, hit effects, go to effects, and go down to where it says color space transform. It's just a little bit further. There you go. Go there. Okay, drag that onto the first node. Okay, so you see you got a bunch of shit there, right? So what you're going to do right now is for the input color space, I want you to try, you're going to just click on it where it says use timeline. Hit R. Oh, yep. And then hit enter. Oh. Well, it's fine. Yep. Okay, where it says output color space, click on it, hit D, and hit enter. Okay, next one, output gamma, click on it and hit D, and hit enter. And where it says input gamma, let's start with, try RE log C. Actually, hold on one sec. Before you do that, go down a little bit. You see where it says keyframes down the bottom? See that? You see where it's, yeah, okay, now go right a bit and go just up a little bit and a little more. Click the middle one to your right. Go to the, yep, click that. Boom, there's your scopes. Okay. So now, go back up to where it says color space transform. I just want you to kind of see. Go up where it actually says color space transform. You see that little switch?
Yeah.
Click on it. Okay, see what happened? Okay, so what we're doing is we're kind of manipulating the image in such a way that is going to allow us a bit more room.
It's even flatter.
It's even flatter. But what we're going to do right now is I want to go to input gamma. Go to input gamma and try RE log C3. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, it's not great, but you see how it expanded it? Yeah. So now this is important. The other thing is if you hit, I think it's should be Alt. Is it Alt? I'm trying to do fucking translations to Windows. Sorry. Try Control D on that real quick.
Just press Control D.
Yeah, just try it. Yeah, there. So hit Control D again. That's your shortcut to turn the whole node on and off.
Okay.
So that basically is the same thing as hitting the red switch, but you don't have to hit the red switch. You can just click a node and hit Control D and it turns the node on and off. Okay, so let's just start with that for a sec. Now it's kind of played with our contrast and done some shit that we may not actually like yet, but we're not done. I want you to go to, you see where you have your 2 secondary nodes are connected to that little block, that little joiner, that little combiner. You see that? Yeah, click that and hit Alt S. Okay, now drag that up to the top right a little bit. Like, just drag it up top so it's up above. And what I like to do with these, we'll do in a sec, but go ahead and put it there for now. Okay, and then now drag a color space transform on it. Okay, now input color space. Hit D. Okay. And hit input gamma, hit D. Okay, now output color space, hit R for Rec 709. And put it on gamma, hit G for gamma. Gamma 2. Okay, so we now have basically a color spaced image. Okay, it's not perfect and it's not saturated or anything yet, but we're going to do a couple little tricks. So RE log C may not be the best gamma because you didn't program in labs the right curve for it to match perfectly.
No, I didn't.
But we can still work with it. It can give us a kind of a place to start. But what we're doing right now is we are managing your output. So where it says output, you are gonna. This is telling it Rec 709 gamma 2. So when you render your file, ultimately you're going to end up with that, which is pretty important. But one other thing I want to do is I want you to go down to the little cog wheel down on the bottom left, or bottom right, I'm sorry, bottom right. And I want you to go to the third tab down, is color management, third tab on the left. Okay, and I want you to go for timeline color space. I want you to click on that, and I want you to hit D. And you're gonna see a correlation here. Hit D, DaVinci wide gamut. Yep, turn that on. Yep. And I want output color space. I want you to click on that, and I want you to hit R. And click down a little further. Roll down a little further. Gamma 2. Click that. Okay, and hit save. So you've just told DaVinci, this is what I'm doing. This is what we didn't see a big change or anything there, but this is the beginning of how to manage color. Okay, and this is basically, so if you click on that first node, go back to your very first node. You should label that cam. You can label it in or to DaVinci wide gamut or anything like that, but just label it CST in. That's a good node name. CST in. And then click on the last node, okay, and label that CST out. Okay, now do yourself a favor and click where it says effects and just click up top where it says, and close that window. So close that, yeah. So you see, when you click on these different things, it's going to open and close different windows in Resolve, right? So kind of scroll up, Greg, and what I would recommend you do is take that CST in and move it up a bit more. Get it away from the rest of your grade. And then take that CST out and move it up and to the right, because that's at the end, right? Right. So, and what I would honestly do is you can drag click the 2 secondaries and that joiner, the parallel mixer, like select all 3 of those nodes. Yep. And then drag them off to the right a bit so that they're more towards the end of your tree. And now you're building a node tree. Okay, and now you can follow it because that's basically what you're doing. So let's look at. It's hard to tell. It feels like you're a little blown out. So let's start with one way to adjust exposure, right? So click on your exposure node, and we may not like this overall, but we're just kind of getting started, right? So go over to, you have your 4 color wheels in the bottom left there?
Yep.
Offset. Grab your offset down below. You see how there's like that? Yeah. So that's the master dial, and that controls all 3 channels simultaneously at the same basically the same level or volume. So just grab that and drag it to the left. Okay. So you're starting to pull your exposure down to a place where you see how it also it's pulling your top end down a little bit, and it's kind of bringing, you know, your overall.
I noticed it like lowering on this graph here too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And that's what you're doing, is you're starting to, you know, get an idea of how these tools are working and what they actually do. So what you can do is you can play with that and kind of get a feel for where your your middle exposure needs to be. That's one way to adjust exposure. So it's kind of subjective. Like, you might feel like your exposure is pretty good overall. Now, I want to do something really quick. Click on kind of the top right of your viewer window. Okay, you made an adjustment. Cool. So keep your adjustment. You see up where your video is? You see how there's that little rainbow icon that looks like a circle with the... click on that. That turns your grade off. Now click it back on. So what you can do now, use that tool, and that is Shift D. Okay, so you can now. What would I be looking at right now? Well, let's look at your clouds and shit. So with your grade, are you completely blowing out your sky more than you were before? You know what I mean? So you're looking at that, and you should be hitting Shift D and turning your grade on and off, and looking at the sky and seeing what detail you might be losing or not. You might be, because
there was no detail in the sky that
day. But this is, you know, this I can't totally see it, and you know the guys can't see it at home necessarily. Should be Shift. Oh, I'm not in the color tab. Shit. Shift F brings you up kind of full screen. So if you hit Shift F, gives you a decent full screen. Command F or Alt, or no, it should be, what is that on Windows? I think it's Alt F will give you full screen. Hit Alt F.
That does.
Oh, is that what it's doing? Maybe it's Control. No. Sorry, man. It should be. Hit Shift F again.
It's Control F.
Control F. Okay, sorry. Control Command. Right. So that should give you total full screen. So if you just need to bring it up real quick and kind of look at your details, and while you're full screen, you can hit Shift D and you can turn your grade on and off.
It's not doing full screen on the stream though.
It's not? Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Probably because it's only streaming this particular window.
Oh, you screen grab. Okay, yeah, you screen grab the window, not the actual monitor. Yeah, okay. I see what it's doing. Okay. But as long as you can see it, I mean, I can.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you for certain that even with your own eyes, there was no detail. It was just white.
Okay, so I mean, that's like, you know, kind of getting started. Now, another place that you can do exposure adjustments while you're here is if you go to. Actually, before we get there. So grab your gain wheel. Grab the same wheel down where it says gain, which is the next one over to the left from offset. So grab that and kind of feel that out and start playing with, you know, how that feels. Just go left and right with that a little bit and start playing with that. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to emphasize the top and the highlights and stuff more. Okay, so it's gonna kind of.
Oh, there's some detail in the sky. I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see some ripples.
Well, sometimes
in the clouds.
you can start bringing some of that stuff back through exposure adjustment, and there's a couple different ways to do that. But ideally, obviously, with scopes, what you're going to be looking at on your scopes at all times is making sure you're not clipping or anything like that. Oh shit! That reminds me. I'm going to do one more thing. Do me a favor before we go any further. Go up to your first CST node in your node tree and just click on it, and then open your effects window by hitting effects. Okay, and where it says tone mapping method, I want you to switch that to actually leave that DaVinci, but where it says use custom max input, click on that. Okay, and then click on that, and now grab the slider below it and take that to the right. There we go. Okay.
All the way?
Yep, all the way. just opens up your timeline for a little more goodness. Okay, that's all. I forgot to tell you to do that. Now, the other thing you can do is you can play around with where it says tone mapping method. You can also do you can do luminance mapping or saturation preserving. So those are settings you can play with later, but let's not get into that now. So for now, that's good. Close your effects window, and let's go back to your wheels. So play with your gain first of all, and so the gain is gonna.
Should I be bringing it up or down? I mean, up it just kind of blows it out.
No, it's
more,
gonna. Well,
but it's bringing out some of those details in the rocks a little bit.
Right, but what I was just about to say is that the gain basically does from like almost the like a little bit less than the midpoint up. Okay, so just kind of set that where you don't feel like your whites are too bright or like none of your whites are too bright. Look at your whites. So when you're looking at gain, you're looking at your highlights. So try to feel that out. Like just kind of feel where your highlights are sitting to kind of give yourself a little bit of exposure there. You know.
I think if you lower it a bit, it looks a little bit. Well, it's settling the whole image. I think
it is, but we're gonna move on. You're gonna see. You know, you're gonna see. So you can pull your.
I'll lower it for now and see.
Okay. Cool. Now, grab your gamma and play with that because that's the middle. So that's going to be where your more mid stuff, like your overall.
Then I can bring the fucking rocks
out. Right. And so your gamma is going to be kind of almost like your overall fucking brightness in a naive sense, basically. But gamma can add a lot of weight to an image, you know, and add a lot of emotion to an image. It kind of sets the tone, the overall tone of your image in a lot of ways, you know, and that's like the midpoint. So, and as you're adjusting it, if you watch your scopes, you'll see more stuff happening more. It's be more aggressive in the middle.
Yeah, like it's expanding.
Okay. And
if I switch it off and on, you can see it.
Right. So now let's just play with lift a little bit. And what I kind of like to do is, you know, there might be some things that you want to crush and make them black, but watch your blue channel on the scope. You see how you're starting to really get into the meat of your signal. It's just something to be aware of. I'm not saying that's
so you don't want to bring this stuff below this line.
Maybe you do. It's a very fucking aesthetic choice, but it's more about being aware of this. But we're going to kind of touch on this a little further in a second when we get to white balancing, because I've kind of covered white balancing a little bit. But basically, what I'm going to suggest you do is you look at the changes.
Balance.
You feel like you're looking at your blacks. So when you're doing lift. Focus more on your blacks and your shadow areas.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
And as long as you feel like you're not like completely destroying the shadows or details in the shadows, that's, you know, but you getting a nice black that you are happy with in terms of the overall exposure, because that's what we're looking at. We're just kind of looking at where your blacks, your dark stuff, your middle stuff, and your highlight stuff. Where is that sitting? Yeah. Globally, we're not fine tuning. The important thing to know about grading is to try to make the biggest impact with the littlest amount of changes possible. Ideally, unless you're creating a look, if you're like creating a look or all that. But I'm just saying, like, always try to use the tools that are going to give you the most net effect, the most effect, and the most impact with the simplest amount of stuff. You know what I mean? So gain, gamma, and lift, those are great for that. Now, we'll get a little deeper later in another session, but this is just going to kind of get you started with your basic exposure. Now, what's important is you can click on your exposure node. Oh, shit. Greg, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
No, good.
Go up to, we can't see you're actually on your CST node. So this is this was my bad. I didn't tell you to go up to your CST node. Right? All right, so I want you to see this. What you're going to do is you're going to go actually back to where it says primaries. Go back to primaries. And on the far right side just keep going to the right of that box. In that top corner, you see the little like arrows. Yeah, click that. Okay, now click down on your exposure node. We could copy paste these changes if they were really that big, but go ahead and just kind of redo what you did. go to your offset. Yep. This is good practice. Kind of get it close to where you felt it was. It was cool. Then look at your gain, your gamma, and your. When we talk about making the biggest amount of impact, your offset does all three simultaneously, so you can make the most impact with offset. And that's the first place you should always go. You may not need to fuck with lift, gamma, and gain at all if you don't want to. Or doesn't need it. So I guess is the better way to look at it. But you might want to or need to. So that's what those other wheels are going to be there for in this scenario. And learn shortcuts. There's previous node, next node. There's all sorts of node shortcuts to learn. But we'll kind of get you started with some of that. And yeah, never be afraid to make a big change.
No, I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's cool. Never be afraid to make a big change and then bounce back from it. And kind of let your eyes adjust to what's actually happening and look around. Because you lose perspective. So
I think that's about where
okay,
I was.
call it. That's cool. So like if you think you're like that's decent looking exposure to you, that's cool. So let's move on to the tricky one now. So let's look at balance. Click on the balance node. Okay. Now, one important thing to kind of be looking at right now is like you see how in your curves you can see your red and your blue channels are really far off from each other in your, how in your curves. And then you look in your scopes and you can definitely see that the bottom end of your scopes, you see how everything is really, blue is pulled way down. Everything's red is really pushed. Okay, so let's start with kind of just doing a basic balance correction. What's the best way to do that? Well, I like to bounce between the parade, which is what you have, and your vector scope. So if you're looking at your scopes and you see where it says parade, if you click on that little arrow next to it, one of them says vector scope, third one down, and you click on that. Okay, so you see how on your vector scope, you see how your signal's sitting right now, that it's all sitting very much towards the red in a lot of ways. The vector scope, I know a good thing. You see the little like slider looking icons right next to the word vector scope? Click on that for a sec. I just wanted to see something. Okay, so click on extents. Just turn that on while we're here. Okay, that's fine. And then just click out of that so that window closes. You just click away. And then you see the three dots that are just to the right of that? Yeah. Where it says vector scope scale type. I'm checking. I'm trying to click on simplified. Okay. You see how you have color on your scope?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you look at your wheels, you can see there's a correlation. Okay. Now, when I said everything's definitely pointing a lot more towards the reds, it's also pointing towards the yellows quite a bit overall, right? And you can quickly see that with the vector scope. Everything is pushed off balance because balance is technically the center of that cross. But no image is going to, in its entirety, will ever just sit in that image. But what it's about is if you kind of look at how you see how those extent lines, that when we turn on extents, you see how you got those little outlines that are kind of out. If you click,
I see.
Okay, you can kind of see where it's emanating from, right? You see where it's kind of emanating from? So you're kind of using these indicators to be able to set push everything to balance, so to speak. Anyway, so what are we going to do? What I want you to do is this time I want you to go to offset and grab the dot in the center of that wheel. And now just start playing around with that a little bit and watch your vector scope while you do it. Okay.
Mhm.
So you see how you're starting to push it, and you see how all the colors, correspond or correlate. So just reset it really quick, and we're going to do a very specific maneuver. Okay, now I want you to grab the wheel. Now you see the angle where everything's kind of going as it goes in between, red and yellow. I want you to pull it the opposite direction, but at the same angle, basically. So you're going to pull it down to the right at the same angle as everything is on your opposite what's on your scope. You're going too far down, not and going too far in general, but start over. Just clear yourself off. Clear yourself off. Grab that thing and very gently just pull it diagonally to the bottom right quarter, just a little bit, just slow. Pull a little more to the right as you go. It's going to take getting used to. And then kind of bounce back and forth. And what you're ultimately going to do is you're going to see a point where most of the stuff is sitting on that cross. So what you're trying to basically do is learn how that feel to get that stuff kind of centered on that cross a little bit more, and watching your image at the same time. You're going to see, number one, you're going to see your whites are going to start turning white, and your colors are going to start popping in a much more pleasing way. You got to learn how to be really gentle, but and don't go too far. But if you pull to the right and down just a bit, you should be able to get it a bit more on that cross, and you'll see in your image that it's starting to clean up. Okay, so let's do a slight check there. Now, really quick, take a look at your where it says vector scope. Click on that and go back to your parade. Look what's going on. Do you see how
it's a lot more balanced.
It's already getting a lot more balanced. So now you can additionally start learning. I can do the wheel with the parade. It's a lot more tricky, but you can do it. But I want to show you something else. Go back over right above where the offset wheel, you'll see where it says mid detail, and right above that in the middle there's like 3 little lines. Up, 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 to the right, to the right, to the right. There you go. Click on that. Okay, these are your bars. Now, remember we were talking about how gain does highlights, and gamma does your mids, and lift does your shadows. Well, this is the same basic thing. What I want you to do in this instance is I want you to go to lift, and I want you to go to the red channel, and go down to the actual where the numbers are, and just click on it and slowly drag it to the left. Okay, don't go too far. Go slow. Slow moves. Yep. Okay. Probably went a little too far, maybe, but just kind of get the feel for it. So you're kind of lining it up with the green right now. Let's just start with that. Okay,
I moved at one point.
So see how it's kind of going? Yep. You don't need to go far. Now grab your blue channel and push that up a little bit. And this is going to take some feel, but you're going to see how your colors are going to start looking much more natural and balanced, so to speak. Now in this, everything in color grading is a push and pull. So as we do this, you're going to you're going to realize that as you push lift, you might need to pull the blue gain down a little bit, which it kind of looks like it does. So look at how your red is sitting a little lower than your green and your blue. So what do? You can what I would do is I would actually grab my green and on gain and pull it down and match it to the red just a little bit. Just pull it very slightly down. So the left, yep. And then grab your blue and balance the 3 out, right? And always bear in mind that you've got your overall adjustments that you can make, your more like global adjustments you can make. So we've kind of, it's starting to look pretty balanced on my end. How are you starting to feel about the image? Are you starting to see like what I'm saying in that regard, like as far as?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I would recommend, let's just talk about looking at scopes really quick. What you don't necessarily want to do is crush your blacks and blow out your highlights. But you see how DaVinci has on your scopes where it says 896? what I like to do is I would go back to my adjustment layer, or sorry, my exposure node right now. I'd go back to my exposure node. I'd click back to my primary wheels, which is over by, go to your bars, where your bars are, and go to the left, go to the left, and bring that back. Go to your gain master wheel, the big wheel, nope, down, yep. And just pull that down just a little bit and get your highlights down to about 896. Just kind of pull them down. Give yourself
Where does it say that number?
on your scope. So you're pulling to the left a little bit, and you're watching your scopes, just trying to pull it down just a little. You don't have to match it perfectly, but get it a little closer. Now, as you do that, you notice that your balance is still a little bit off. So we can kind of fine tune it. So now go back to your balance and go back to your wheels. Oh, sorry, your bars. Grab your blue gain and bring that down a little bit by itself. You can do it that way, but your numbers are always going to be a little easier, just so you know. So just kind of use that bar as a reference to help you get it kind of everything lined up, right? So in that case, your red and green look pretty good. Sorry, your red and blue look pretty good. So bring your green down just a tiny bit. And get it pretty close. And now let's just look at your let's look at your overall lift. How does the blue? I feel like your red on lift can come down a touch more. Okay. Now, we're still a bit out, but as your curves graphs will... Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Do me a solid. On where it says curves... I'm going to go to my curves real quick.
Curves. Custom.
Yep. Where it says curves custom, right? Go to the three dots in the right of that window. All the way over. Keep going. Yep. There you go. And where it says histogram, click on that. And go to output. Okay, now you see what happens? You see, so using your scopes and your histogram, making sure your histogram is set to the output mode, and it will, like, it's an important thing. It usually stays that way. You could save this as a default setup and use it over and over, and we'll go into that a little bit more later, but this is you're starting to see. Now, what do we see, though? We see that the red channel is still sitting a little bit low, so go to your lift and bring your red channel up a little bit on the bottom end, because I can see it in your waveform as well. Just bring that up a little bit. Okay. We're actually pretty balanced overall. You know, it's not perfect and you never necessarily needs to be, but you're just getting closer. Now, I'm not saying that your color space transform is perfect yet either, but this is more about kind of getting you comfortable with the idea and the process.
Yeah.
Not, you know, perfect results by any means to start. But okay, so let's kind of call that our color balance. So let's kind of, oh, I know what I forgot. I'm an idiot. Grab your primary node, okay? Grab your primary node and just drag it over to the right a little bit. Make some room. Okay, now hit Shift S. All right, drag that node up so it's where it should be. It didn't think you had enough room. Yeah. Okay, label that SAT. That's an important one. Okay, so let's get to some of the fun really quick. Let's go to the primary wheels. So you're going to go back, and go to your, there you go. And down below, you're going to see, to the bottom left, you're going to see color boost. So play with that. Turn it up a little bit, which would be the right.
Oh, there we go. Give me 1 second. I need to get a drink.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me start a video, and I'll, let's take a quick break, and I'll start a video. And, I have to pee. Here, I'll throw the Beast of Mandaloo. We got Jay coming up. Here, we'll watch a video. Video break.
baby. And then look who else I found.
Yo.
This guy. Everybody
Listen
knows
up,
this
everybody.
guy.
If you can hear the sound.
Mandalo to the fucking moon, baby.
$10 bracelet to
What is up, my Mandalo familia? What is up, my YouTube people? I'm excited to bring you guys this one. We finally got here. We finally made it out to the beast of the East. Look who I got next to me already. My boy Mel. We got all these hooligans, all these fools. My boy Steven. We got all these hooligans. This is where we're flying today. So, let's see what we get out of this Mandalo pack. Well, guys, first Mandalo at the Beast of the East, at the AKA the Hangar. Mandalo to the fucking moon. Let's see what we get out of this.
Hey, what's up? What is real? Oh, you're back, Greg? Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting anything out of this?
I was just gonna ask that same thing. You guys,
Or are you starting to get something out of it, Greg?
yeah, I'm figuring out how to move around this fucking program.
Well, wait till once we get things a little, you'll get a little closer. After Jay's video, I'll explain a couple
I
things
see what
about
the color
sex.
boost is doing. Is bringing out some of that fucking color detail.
Well, I'll explain exactly how it's working. It's color boost will boost the least saturated stuff first. Saturation will saturate the most color saturated stuff first. So, what does that mean? Well, that means sometimes you're gonna want to work color boost and saturation against one another, and we're gonna kind of touch on that really quickly. We don't have a ton of time tonight, obviously, but we'll.
Oh, the thing's already looking fucking far better than it was.
Darkwing says yes. That's good. At least somebody's getting. We saved one person. We've saved the world. Oh.
I find color grading to be the most difficult part of editing, so this should be helpful for anybody watching.
Getting some fundamentals that you can start building off of is really what it's about right now.
I wouldn't have thought of doing that.
Well, we're gonna start touching on some of that stuff in a minute too. Okay, let's.
I didn't know what to do with
we'll come back
single
to the
node,
playlist.
let alone multiple.
Okay, so we'll come back to the playlist. Let me try to bring my resolve back up so I can. I gotta fucking figure out how to. I don't have a 3-button mouse on this Mac, and there's no way to do a 3-button thing with the trackpad over remote. All right, whatever. Okay, so. All right, we should be back on Zoom. Okay, on you, right? So, all right, where was I? So, okay, so with color boost, right? You're playing with color boost, okay, and Yeah, so as you bring up color boost, what's happening is the stuff that's the least saturated is getting more saturation first, and then it will go up until it starts doing the most saturated.
You can actually
stuff.
tell there's grass.
Yeah. So now, like, just kind of color boost a bit. Now you see how but maybe color boost until like the reds are getting too obnoxious. Let's just do that real quick. Like kind of really kicking it. Yeah, okay.
That's about where it is.
All right, now go to saturation and pull that to the left and turn it down some and watch what happens. You're going to start pulling. You can kind of go too far, but you're going to start pulling that red down before the greens and the least saturated stuff, right?
All right.
You'll be able to, so you can, now if you just kind of reset that node, you can click on them. Now just turn up saturation only this time and kind of and see what happens there. Start turning, yeah, you see, it's not as pleasing in the rocks and stuff as you're turning it up.
Yeah.
But the oranges start to get real banging real quick. You see what's going on? So so reset that and do the same thing. Bring your color boost up and just get it to a point. Don't bring it up to the oranges are obnoxious. Just bring it up to it's like the rocks and the the grass and shit starting to look pretty decent. Okay. Starting to feel that. So now you have a choice.
Right there.
Like you can look around at other stuff and now grab your saturation and turn it up from 50 once. Just turn that up a bit and start looking at it. See what that does to everything else. Now, of course, at some point, your oranges might get too fucking obnoxious, right? But what you're going to want to do is start kind of feeling out saturation. Now, I can teach you, the way I do saturation is totally different in a lot of ways. Like my filmic stuff is totally different and a little more complicated. But if you learn to use these two, like I said, everything's a push and pull. Sometimes you'll do the lift, and then you got to pull down the gain. Or sometimes you push the gain and you got to pull down the lift, or whatever. It's everything's push and pull. Sometimes you're going to turn up color boost and turn down saturation. Sometimes you're going to turn them both up. Now, what's really important to know is that everything looks great, but the orange is still just too fucking bright. Well, we can fix that too. So don't ever base your total saturation just because one particular color might be getting a little obnoxious. Because the next step is part of grading is kind of adjusting your palette and adjusting the intensity of certain colors on your palette. And that's the next step. So what I would do is just get your saturation between color boost and saturation, get that to a decent place.
I think I like that.
Now, the other thing is go back to exposure real quick. And just hit Shift D and turn it on and off, not Shift D, Command or Control, whatever the hell it is. Should be Control D, I think. No, it's Alt D then. It's one of them fucking ones. Alt D? It should only turn. Are you hitting Alt or Command? That's Shift. Right?
This is Alt.
That's Alt. Okay. Hit Shift-D. That's that, right? Now hit Control D and try that. Yeah, that's just turning off the one node. Right. Okay. So the reason why we're doing this is because throughout your grade, okay, now go back to balance. Click on balance and do the same thing. Just turn that node off. Control D. Look at that.
Oh, shit.
Look at that. Would you look at it?
Shit.
Just look at it. Click it back on. Dude, so what you're doing right now is you're learning. You're learning. So say in your process, in your practice here, you have something fucked up and you don't know why it's fucked up and you don't know where it's coming from. Well, you can go into each node, turn it off one at a time, turn one off, and you can pinpoint where the fuck it's coming from. Like go to saturation, turn it off. You're going to see, okay, that orange is obviously no longer blowing out, so I know it's in there. You know what I mean? It gives you a way to isolate primary changes throughout your grading process in case you run into a problem and you don't know where it's coming from. And this is especially important when you're not using a color manage workflow, because you might push something out of gamut unintentionally. And what does that mean? You pushed it, you overfilled your bucket. You put too much color in there, and it's now overflowing your bucket. You know, we talk about what a gamut is. A gamut is a bucket that holds color. And
damn, this is already looking a fucking 1,000 times better than
so what
it was.
You know, so what did we do? So with our color space transforms, what we did, a GoPro shoots in, unless you tell it otherwise, shoots in Rec 709 primaries. That's why we set the input of the CST to Rec 709. Now the gamma we're punting on, and what I want to show you one more thing. Go up to your first CST node really quick. I just want you to look at something. Click on that. Go to click on your effects thing to open that up again. Okay, go to your input gamma really quick. We're just gonna play around with it really quick. I just want to show you. Click on that and just roll down to C. You can hit C to get yourself a... Okay, grab Canon log. Just try that. Click on that. Okay, that doesn't work. But it gives you an idea. Go to Canon log 2. Yeah, try that. Okay, so what we're doing is we're kind of playing with the gammas. Now, this is your system gamma, and also watch your scopes while you're doing all this, because sometimes you might really have something, it feels like you got lucky with RA-log C on your footage, to be quite honest, because it didn't blow out your scopes instantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously adjust it, because all of this shit is non-destructive, but my point is that sometimes it's worth trying. Click on Canon log C and type F and go to Fuji really quick.
Go to where?
F. Fuji.
On this one?
Yep. Fujifilm F-Log. Click on that. Okay, that's a different look. Okay, so it really fucked up our balancing, but that's... Anyways, I'm just kind of making you aware that sometimes it is going to make sense to try some different gammas, because we don't know what's absolutely going to work best with the footage that day. Go back to RLog C.
Which one was it?
RLog C3. Yep. Yeah. Always pick the C3. That's a good place to start. So, and we based our whole grade off this input gamma, so we're not going to change it now. But my point is, sometimes when you're doing these conversions, you might need to change that gamma, because what we know is a GoPro shoots Rec 709 primaries. So your input color space is Rec 709. We know that it uses a crazy gamma that is undefined when you're shooting flat. But we know that RE-Log C and some other gammas can work. So I like to start sometimes with log C. I personally have a method that takes out the guesswork, where I actually set my GoPro in a way that I can use it. Also in studio, I have a few more tools. So I'm trying to teach you guys how to grade in the free version of Resolve, most importantly, and get yourself into a color managed workflow. Now,
version.
When you set your output color space and your output gamma to DaVinci wide gamut, what are we doing? We're taking the Rec 709 bucket that is like the size of a fucking sand bucket, right? And we're throwing it into a swimming pool. Okay, because DaVinci wide gamut is the largest gamut available. So we literally took your little bucket of sand and threw it in a swimming pool of color that allows us to do our grading in. So at the end, when we made that last node, we went from the input, as you see, we were outputting color, DaVinci wide gamut and DaVinci intermediate to our grading nodes, right? And then click on your output CST. So I'm just kind of hammering this in again. Yep, open effects. So now we're inputting DaVinci wide gamut, because that's what all our grading nodes are sending, unless we change it. Now we can change this. That's more complicated. We'll get into it later. But what you're doing is you're taking your swimming pool now, and you're funneling it to what a computer display can actually handle.
Okay.
Which is Rec 709 in our case. Gamma 2.2, because most computer displays use sRGB Gamma 2.2. But Rec 709 primaries and sRGB primaries are effectively the same thing, and so That's fine, but YouTube, unless you're doing HDR, which is Rec 2020, YouTube expects Rec 709. Most YouTube programming, I recommend that if you're making something for Facebook, for YouTube, for whatever, put Gamma 2.2. If you knew you were making a movie, you would be using Gamma 2.4. But we're setting that Gamma because we know we're sending it to YouTube. So that gets us knowing that what we're going to render in the end is going to be something that YouTube should be able to display properly. Okay. Okay, so you got a grade started, bro. Right? Now, I do want to show you one thing. Let's go ahead and close your effects. Now, we made nodes here, okay, for primaries. Well, primaries, in this case, we may not want to do anything yet. Actually, before we even do that, click on your contrast node real quick. Okay, now, I want you to do this to start. Where it says, under your primaries wheels, where it says pivot, down your primaries, yeah, go where it says pivot. Click on that and type 0.336. Just double click it and it'll select all. Yeah, 0.336. Okay. Okay. Now to the left of that is your contrast wheel. Grab the contrast knob to the left of that. Yep. No. Yep. You're on it. No. Up. Contrast. There you go. Drag that left and right. We don't really need to make a lot of contrast adjustments, I feel like, because we already did a really good job with the exposure. But this is where you would do that. If you needed to add or raise or lower contrast, that's where you would do that. Sometimes what I like to personally do is I might just go to like 0.95, like just drag it to the left just a tiny bit, and it might just make my shadows just a little more milky. It might bring out a little bit of the detail. But again, the important thing with color grading is small moves make a huge difference, and it gets more impactful with some of the other tools in Resolve, like in the HDR wheels. Small moves in the HDR wheels are fucking huge. So, again, you would play with that. And again, so as you're making more changes throughout your grade, say you get to a point where you want to see it, you can always Control D on and off and turn your contrast change on and off and see what's going on. It's like, yeah, you get into a shot where it's a little darker or something. Maybe on the next clip you need to make an adjustment. We can go to the relevant nodes in each clip to make this work. Okay, so let's.
Wish I had an ND filter to use that day.
That's cool though. We can always play with it. All right, so like.
I'm noticing some lighting changes going from
Sure.
When I look at look at the sky to the ground. It changes slightly, but it's whatever. And
you may ultimately want to find cut it, or you may actually tweak the gamma a little bit, and you may notice some spots where it kind of helps even it out globally. This is part of grading. Sometimes you can help mask it by making certain things darker or brighter, But okay, so we've done some contrast. We'll say the contrast is good, right? So primaries. Well, what would we do in primaries? Well, primaries, you would make a big change. Like maybe you're trying to do a look. You might want to just make a big change there. I don't know that you necessarily need any major adjustments, but you could do something like this on our primaries. Click on your primaries node. On your primaries node, yep. Click up on that. Now, where you have your wheels and stuff, go down to your wheels and shit, and if you know where it says primaries, go up, up, keep going up. You see where you have the six icons there?
Yeah.
Okay, click on the next one over, which is HDR. HDR is where you can get surgical, and you have 6 wheels plus 7 total. You have 6 wheels, and you see how you have the 3 wheels that are 3 little colored dots at the top of your, click left and right on those. Just kind of click on them. You can click on the actual wheels, but you see what's happening. You have specular, you have highlights, you have dark, and keep going all the way down. You can go all the way to the blacks if you wanted to. But so like let's just do a little bit of a fun experiment. Just grab your highlight wheel, grab that, and pull it right to the blues just a little bit. Just a little bit. Pull it blue just a little bit. And see how it's making your sky blue?
Yeah.
You can play with that. You can make your sky purple. You can, you know what I mean? You can start playing. Now, but what's even more important about this is go down where it says exposure and grab that. Go down. Yeah, you can reset it if you want. Go down where it says exposure, right below that wheel, right below the wheel where you just are. Up, there you go, exposure, yep. Grab that left and right. It's going to be real slow to move because they're big changes, but watch your sky when you do this. And a lot of times when you're making these kinds of adjustments, you want to be looking at the sky, yeah, like get a better shot. But you can start playing around with bringing the detail out in your clouds a little bit and stuff like that if you wanted to. Now, I generally do this on my exposure node. Also, look how it's affecting your scopes. You see how it's only doing the top end?
Yeah.
This is how you do just the top end. That's part of it anyways. But this is giving you more control over your, like the bands. And you can even get further and you can adjust the bands themselves. But I kind of wanted to show you this because sometimes you want to just push a little blue into your sky, go into your primaries node, go into your HDR wheel, go to your highlights, and push a little blue into the sky. Or maybe tweak the exposure just a little bit if you want. That's cool, man. There's no... But I try not to make exposure adjustments here. I actually have an HDR node where I do everything there. And sometimes exposure is part of that. But we're keeping your trees simple. So, I don't know. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you do. Okay, so let's do one more quick thing. Click on your secondary node. Okay, and I want you see where it says custom curves? It's already 12 something, so we can't keep going too late. Okay, click on the, you see over you have all those icons to the right there, up a little bit, all those icons, right. So click on the first one. And so that's hue versus hue. So what you can do with this is say you wanted to make the red blue. You can just click on one of the chairs. Physically go into click on that. You see I have an eyedropper? Click on that. Boom. Okay. Now, you see how it created those points on your curve window down below? Look at the color. Yeah.
Here,
you see that? Yep. Click in the one in the middle, the one that would be in the middle, the one that's actually highlighted. The one that's furthest to the right. Furthest to the right, sorry. Yeah. Okay, push that up and down. See what's happening?
Oh, shit. That's dope.
So what you've done is you've done a very simple qualification and you're doing what's known as color rotation or hue rotation. So you're rotating the hue based on what the original hue was to a hue that you want it to be. This is important. Go ahead and let's just get out of here. Go ahead and click on the little circle up at the top.
How do I reset that?
That's what I'm trying to tell you to go up. Nope, not that far. You're working in a window. Yep, click that. Okay, the important one I want to show you is the next icon over. Go to the next one over. There we go. This is the important one. Click on the guy's shirt that's really like popping. The red part of the guy's shirt that's really popping. Click on that shit. It's going to put the point basically in the same place. Now, go to that point that you created. So what it's basically doing is it's creating your center point and 2 points on each side to control it. So it only goes, you see how it was creating that curve between the 2 points? That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Pull that down.
Oh. Made it less obnoxious.
Exactly. So you ever get a road cone or some shit in your fucking shit or something's really just too popping, this is where you want to make that change.
I actually like that more than before, so it was a little too obnoxious on that.
Right, exactly. Well, that's why, for me too. So that's it. There's your secondary, and we don't have to do anymore. Okay, so say this is basically let's just say that this is your grade. Look through your footage. See if you see anything that's obnoxious or bad. And granted, you could push a little more sat, or you could do this. This is also a way to like push more saturation, because now that you've killed the obnoxious shit, you can now add more color boost or more saturation because you've toned down the shit that was too much. So now you could go back and add more green saturation or more rock saturation or more. And if something else gets obnoxious, you can pull it down. The important thing is watching your scopes and going to your vector scope from time to time and making sure that it's not getting too big. And we'll get further into scopes later. Oh. You went to a different clip. Okay, click on your clips. Actually, you can hit your up or down arrow keys. Should take you clip to clip. There you go. There we go. Okay, so we have a grade started. So let's just say this is our grade started, right? Now, this is what I want you to do. It looks okay to start? Gives you a place to start, right?
It's fucking way better than it was when I got it flat.
So click on where it says clips up above your nodes. Okay, now this is where it gets fun. We're going to do it this way. So go to your very first clip on the left side. Click on that. Very first clip. Yep. Click on that. And then go to the fourth one over and hit shift and select them all. There we go. Now, immediately go to your graded clip and right click on it. And about the middle, you'll see it says apply grade. Nope, down, middle, more middle of the middle. There you go. Yeah. Apply grade. Click on that. Boom. All your clips are graded. Now go to the clip just after your graded clip. And go to the end. Select the last clip and hit shift. Yeah, shift click. Yeah, don't do clips. Just do the last one you want to grade. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now go back to the clip. Right click on it. Yep. You're grading. Yep. That's the one. Apply grade. Yep. Just hit replace. Boom. Okay. Now all your clips have the same grade.
Well, hell yeah.
Now, every clip has the same grade, and you can go in, and if one clip is too bright, you go into your exposure node and you know what to do. If one clip has too much color, you go into your saturation node and you know what to do. Yeah, you can always add grades. Now, I want to show you something else cool really quick before we get out of all that. But yeah. And those are the white balance. So now, let's talk about what happened.
These are different shots.
They're different shots. So what would I think that are the most important things to be looking at immediately?
Oof.
Let's just talk about it really quick. Your white balance is going to be the balance node is going to be the one that you're going to want to just reset and fucking fix that. Your exposure node, reset and fix that. Your saturation contrast might apply once you fix those two. You know what I mean? But what you can do is you can go to the first clip and you can reset exposure and you can reset.
I don't think I'm going to include those clips.
Sure.
Anyway.
It
was just driving, and then this was one just me fucking taking off.
But you can also you can also do what's called a timeline wipe, where you can have half your screen can be the clip you like, and the half of the screen can be the clip you don't like, and you can use your scopes to see the difference, and you can match them. It's insane, but that's for another time.
Huh. Yeah.
But so just do this really quick go to that first yucky clip from your driving. Just go to that first one. Go to balance and just turn it off. Just go to balance and turn it off. Balance. Yep. There you go. Turn that off. Okay, so that's not any really better, or it's kind of worse in its own way. But but this is a way you could start looking at it. You could start breaking down, like, okay, if I was going to go in there, I would just redo my balance node and my exposure nodes for this clip, and then once I did that, it might fit all the rest of the clips. So you can regrade and rebalance, re-expose and rebalance. And saturation and other things will probably still be kind of close, but yeah, or you can just delete them. Okay, so that's a quick way to get in and out of stuff. Now go back to your hero shot really quick. just go back to that one clip. It doesn't even matter really. It was your 5th clip in, but you'll need to scroll down. Yeah. Go to that one. Right. Now, what I want you to do really quick is I want to show you one really cool thing. And I know you might forget a lot of this shit, but just right click on that clip. On the clip. In the clip, yep. Right click on that. And you see up top where it's at the very top it says local versions. Go ahead and hit create new version. And just call it grade. Call it grade 1. Call it grade 1. All right. Actually, no, I take that back. Call it grade 2, just because I'm anal. Call it grade 2. Okay. Hit OK. Now, click on it again and go back up to local versions. And go to version 1 and rename it to grade 1. Okay. Now, if you hit, should be Control N. You see how it says grade 1 is loaded in the top left? Now hit Control N again. Yeah. Okay, grade 2. Now, just do this. This is for the learning experience part. Click on your primary node really quick. Just click on that primary node really quick. And go over to global. Just go to the global wheel and down in your wheels. And just pull it kind of green or something. Just pull it kind of green. Okay, stop. Now, hit Control B.
Control B?
Yep, Control B. Okay, grade 1 is loaded. Hit Control N. Grade 2 is loaded. That's how you do versions if you want to try something and you don't want to fuck up what you've done.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So go back to hit Control N and yeah, just like get to grade 2 and clear that bullshit out we just did.
Yeah, I did.
But now you have 2 grades that you can play with and you can bounce between them. So you can like, whenever I get to a point like, man, this is looking really good. I'm really happy with where things are going.
Let's do something else.
Save that shit and make a version of what you're saying. When you say that, make a version of that shit. And then that way you can fucking, if you make a new version, every change you make after you make a new version is in that new version, and you have the previous version there in case you need to go back to it. So it just gives you an opportunity to experiment without fucking up your work.
It seems a lot better than fucking Adobe, that's for damn sure.
I mean, Adobe can't touch this for color. There's just no two ways about it.
No, none of these options are fucking like this. Like,
and it's a little clunky to get used to, and I'm like I said, I'm trying to translate. When I'm on my Windows PC, it's all muscle memory. I don't even think about what keys I'm hitting, and on my Mac, it's a little more tricky. But so that's basically a quick way to do a grade, and a basic grade anyways. And now you can click around and you can look at your other shots, and if something, like I said, if something's a little bit too bright, you go into your exposure and you adjust it. If something's a little bit too this or that. And also, like, there's a lot of other cool shit. Like, you can actually do what's called a ripple, where you select all your, like, say you wanted to turn up the saturation on everything, you can select all your clips, and then you can do what's known as a ripple node, where you, whenever you make a change in a particular node, it changes that node in every other grade, as long as the grades are the same. Like, as long as you have the same node count in on every clip, you can fucking ripple that node to everything. You can also create what's known as it's like a network node, where you can make a saturation node that's the same for everything. And just when you so like if you click on your saturation node really quick and right click on it, go to your saturation and right click on it, and see where it says save. Don't do it, but you see where it says save as shared node. That's how you do that. And then you can make everything share that node, and then every time you make a change to that node, it affects all your clips.
Okay.
It's just, again, I know I'm probably throwing a little bit too much at you right now, but this is the basics of how to set up a tree and why we use what at face value is a complicated node tree or node structure because in reality, it's actually simple because each thing is doing one thing. And then really, man, 90% of this shit is labeling what you're doing so you don't forget what's doing what. You know what I mean? Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Any other questions?
No, I think covered a lot tonight.
What do you guys
no
think?
hander. Let's go.
More of the middle.
We're still wearing so many people hanging around right around the ramp.
What's up, Brandon Baked Beans? Yeah, we are doing some. We're getting
Like that dude crouched right where I wanted to fucking line up.
right. So like, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, and then like you can, and again, as long as like all your shots are pretty much the same and the same exposure, and you're pretty happy, you can go back to your hero shot, whatever your hero shot was, and you could add a little more saturation. You could try a few things. That's why I was like, make another version, because then you can always do the same thing. You can apply that grade to all your clips. Now, let's do another thing really quick. Right click on your actual video window. Right click on that and grab a still. Okay. Now, up top left, click on the gallery window. Okay. That still has your node tree in it.
Nice.
So if you right click on that really quick and go to display node graph, there's your node tree inside your still. You can export that, send that to your homie, and they'll get the same shit.
Huh.
Almost like a LUT, but instead of a LUT, they get your grade with all its pieces if you're doing it right. So
How to
like
save a node tree for a new project? Darkwing asks.
okay, click on your just below where it says gallery. Actually, let's do that. We're just below, all the way left to left. Okay, just below that, to the left, just a little more left, a little more left. There you go. No, that's as left as you can get. There you go. Click on that. Okay, right below that where it says stills, click on power grade. Okay, go back to your window. Click on it, hit grab still. Okay, every time you open a project from here on out, that still is going to be in your power grades window, and that grade is going to be there.
Oh, that's cool. So you could use that for another project that might have a similar lighting.
Exactly. Well, I mean, dude, you can use it for another. Just use the tree. So you could also create a new version, reset all the nodes that like in your grade, like just reset them. So if you go to like your exposure node, Greg, and you right click on it, and you'll see that one of the first options is just right click on it, reset node grade. Just click it. You can undo it. Click it. Boom. That reset that. Okay. Now, actually do this. Even more fun. Right click right where you're at. Just right click where you're at. Reset all nodes and grades.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
No, do that. Just do it. Watch. I'm going to show you something. Just do that. Okay. Now go back to your still and your power grade. No, don't undo it, bro. Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right click on that and hit apply grade. Done.
Oh, okay.
You're right. So that's another way to save versions. If you say you like something, if you want to just keep a version, you can just save it in your stills. If you know it's something you might want to use, it's a setup you want to use in another project, save it in your power grades, and it will show up in every project. What do you guys chat? You got any questions? Was it why you got me? You want to see my tree? I can't really show you the whole tree because this thing's bullshit. I don't know why I can't do that.
I could stop sharing my screen so you could share yours.
Here, I'll share mine just for a second. So I'll talk a little bit about what I do.
Find fucking Zoom. stop sharing this fucking screen.
I think I've already got it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, did I do the wrong one? Motherfucker. Oh, is it sharing it? Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's doing it now.
I can't drag my shit around, bro. So this is a problem, actually. I can't zoom, so I can't make this any smaller, which
I
is
can't
really
see. Your stream is, or the stream's only showing your desktop.
okay. Sorry. You can't see it in. Can you see it in Zoom?
I can see it in Zoom, not on.
Okay. Okay.
YouTube.
All right, it's
Okay,
on.
there we go. There we go. There we go.
How do you middle click it with remote desktop? Don, do you know that? Like, do you know? I'm gonna Google it. I'm trying to see. Okay, well, I'm not going to hold this up. I'll try to figure this out in my own time. Anyways, you can't see all of my tree, unfortunately, because this is fucking annoying. Can I control F2 into full screen function? Control F2? Oh, no. Come on.
Oh yeah, John.
I can't
Yeah, I learned a lot
frickin'
on this.
do this. Function F2. Let's function control F2. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna have to figure this. I can't drag this around, which really sucks, because it only gets bigger, not smaller. But what I do is, when I'm working on a timeline, I normally have all my clips, depending on whatever it is. I'll have my, I have my edit. This is just some clips, right? But if I want to, this is not updating. Oh, there we go. I don't even know what resolution I'm in right now. Okay. So anyways, what you can do, and what I would do, is if you notice up here, is I've got 4 buttons, okay, and timeline. What you can do with clips is you can, oh, I forgot they moved it over here. It's so annoying they did that. You can right click on all your clips, and you can add them to a group, okay? I'm going to add these into a new group, and I'm going to call it My Grade, okay? And so when I am clicking on any of these clips, if I go into, what I have here is what's called a group pre-clip. And so say I want every clip needs to be blue for whatever reason. All right, let me just get some video up. Every clip needs to be blue. I'm going to go ahead and just pull everything blue. And if you notice, all of my clips turn blue because they're grouped together, and everything pre-clip, every change pre-clip, I know I want it to be blue. That's it. Everything's going to be fucking blue. All right. Post-clip does a very similar thing. But for some reason, maybe you want to have, I don't know, what do we want to have at the end? Let's look at our effects. Like, maybe I want to blur everything in the end after everything. I can do that. And I can go and add blur to every single clip after all my grading. For whatever reason I needed to have blur at the end, I can do that in a post clip. My grade, however, is still here in the middle. And then I have a look on the timeline, and this look will affect every clip on the timeline, no matter what group it is in. If it's on the timeline, it's going to go through this at the very end. So for whatever reason, my overall timeline needs to have a certain amount of contrast. Every clip will get that contrast in the entire timeline. So if I come over here and I add a new track, and I put I'm just going to alt drag a clip up here and put a new clip up here, that clip also is going to have whatever grade is on my timeline here. So this is a little bit of funk to be aware of, but it can definitely give you some additional power. Let me just undo all that bullshit. And like, again, then it also gives you nodes that like, oh, I hate that. Let me just fucking go ahead and just reset all that blue shit. And now all my grades are back to where I want to be. So that's cool. One other thing that I want to show you guys really quick, and this is really, I've talked about it before with you, Greg. So say I want to replace this clip, right? And I want to replace this clip no matter what length my other clip was. I want to make sure I fucking replace it. So just say I'm going to replace it with, I don't know, let me just grab this clip. Okay, and I come here and I want to start my shot with this barn. I'm going to hit I for in. And I want to replace this shot, which starts with him on the trampoline, on my timeline. I'm going to hit in, and I'm going to hit out. And now I can hit. Oh, I made a mistake. Shit, sorry. I was in the wrong view. Damn it. I wasn't on source. Shit. I was on the wrong viewer. Sorry. I got it fixed now. So yeah, so let me get back to where I was. So let's make this easier. So that's an important thing to understand as well about in editing, okay? The right side is your timeline. The left side are your clips. So whatever clip you select over here shows up on the left. And this is what I think where we were talking about how it's easy to get confused because I just did myself. Because I wasn't in split view. And on the right is wherever I am in the timeline, okay? But if you're in single mode, you can go to your timeline and you can also go back to your sources. And I don't have the button mapped, so I can't do it right now. But there is a source button. So there's a couple different ways to get there. But this is where you would actually change your timelines right here, okay? In your timeline window, and then this is where you would change your sources. So anyways, without getting too crazy, say I want to find this. Well, I can say I want to pull this up over here. I can click right here and go back to my source and bring this exact frame up in the left-hand side. So back to my scenario, let's just do what I wanted to do. So I wanted to start my new edit. I wanted to start it just at this barn coming up here. Right? So I'm going to hit in, and I got this much room to work with. Here, I want on my timeline, let me just hit, if you hit Alt X, it gets rid of in and out points. So I want to start in, I'm going to hit I, and I'm going to hit O here. Now, when I grab this clip and I drag it over here, I got a couple options, and I can do a bunch of different stuff. But I can just hit overwrite, and now it will replace it, and it wasn't long enough, so it left a chunk of the clip that was down here. So I don't like that, so let's not do that. So I'm going to do fit to fill. And that's going to totally replace it. Now, how did it do that? Because it changed the time of my clip. So it actually, this was too short. So what did it do? It slowed my clip down to fit this time that I wanted it to do. Because originally, I just did a replace or an overwrite. You can do a replace too. Or you can do an overwrite. You can also do an insert, but we don't want to do that. But the important one I wanted to show you is how to overwrite, replace, and fit to fill, which is the most important one. Is let's make it a little more extreme. Let's just undo that. Let's go back to our source and let's grab a short version. Okay, so we got a short version. I'm going to do fit to fill. And now it's going to change the speed to whatever it needs to be to fit that time. Which is a little glitchy, but because it's too slow, because it slowed it way down. But you see the point. Now, how would I fix that? Well, I would come into the inspector and I'd turn on optical flow under retime and scaling right here, and that will help fix that stuff. But that's something we'll get into more at another time. But anyways, that's just a couple of things I wanted to quick show you. Like, just start learning how to do that, or you can do an append. So like, say I want to come here, and I want to add this to the end. Do they have an append in this? Yeah, appended end right here, and I could bang that at the end of my timeline if I wanted to. So what's good is, like, when you're doing an actual edit and you're like working in cut, or you're working in the edit page and you're just adding shit to the end, you can go to append. Now, what's important is to learn the shortcuts for those, which I believe append is F10, there's F11, but start learning your shortcuts for all these types of moves. The other thing is you can also do it right here. You've got replace clip, overwrite clip, and insert clip. So say I wanted to insert this clip right here, I can go bang, and it inserts it, right? So that's a couple quick ones to learn, and I think that we'll have to come back and do more at another time because it's getting really late.
Yeah, it's late.
Yes, John. Yes, absolutely. Well, we had an awesomely long playlist that we're not going to make it through. Why don't we go ahead and just watch a couple videos and then call it? Or do you want to just call it? Up to you. I don't care. You guys want to call it? We can call it.
Yeah, just call it.
Okay. We can watch videos. I don't want your work to go to waste, Greg.
Like I said in chat, it saves me time making it next week. Unless somebody posts a banger in Discord, they gotta add that and replace it with another one.
Oh, what's up, Trinity? I didn't even see you jump in. I wasn't watching chat. Is there any questions, you guys? Is there any questions though, really quick? Like I said, while you got me, is there any last questions? We'll give it a couple seconds if you want me to show you anything else. Do you have any other questions, Greg, to get you started?
No, any questions I'll probably ask tomorrow.
Word.
I'm a little overloaded. Probably gonna spend the rest of my evening playing a couple video games and then pass the fuck out.
Right on. Yeah, totally. And I feel that. And so one of the things I do want to add, man, do that. Take breaks, okay? Especially when you're grading, all right? Start simple with your node tree. Start with 5-6 nodes. You don't have to do the parallel shit.
You know, this is perfect. Even
know,
like what we did today, like got it into like a place where I would consider exporting that.
Well, like, so with you know how we did the 2 secondary stacked on your timeline?
Yeah.
With one of them, we used that secondary to pull the saturation down out of the red-orange color, right?
Yeah.
So say you wanted, the reason why I did 2 is because what I would normally do in that situation is I would use one of them to do hue rotations or something else. So a lot of times that's what I do. Like I might take a red and I might want to maybe I want the red to be a little less that red and more maroon than whatever. I would use one node to do my rotations or other types of changes, and I would use the one to do the saturation cut and one to maybe do the rotation where I would actually change it. Or as you see, there was a bunch of more icons there. Well, each one is like hue versus hue, which is rotation, hue versus sat. Then there's hue versus luminance, where you can actually pull down the luma value, which can be really good if say you do a title or a text, or you have text or a sign that's bright, it's just fucking white as fuck. But you don't want to adjust your exposure. You just want to adjust that sign, you know, that particular thing in that particular mode. You can use those tools and go into like, maybe the sign isn't white, maybe it's some other color, but it's just obnoxious. You can actually just turn down the luminosity values too, which will also kind of affect saturation to some degree. But yeah, okay, I don't want to get too deep in all of that. But those other icons, my point is those other icons are helpful, and you need to play around with them to kind of feel what they do and learn. Another good tip I would recommend is realize there's generators in the effects of Resolve. I'm going to show this really quick. I'm going to show that really fast. One other thing I would show you guys in Resolve is that under the effects, you have generators and right here. And these are super helpful if say you need a grayscale and you want to look at what's going on, you can add that. And what's super dope is you can create a new compound clip and call this gray. And a good tool in color is to get this fucker right here in your pipeline. And then when you're going in and you're making adjustments on the overall values of things, it gives you something to work with. And using a gray card can be helpful. Going in and using the color bar generators can also be super useful. And if you make them a compound clip, these aren't managed right, so they're not totally working. It's too deep to get into now. But using these clips, you can come in and you can see what the hell these different tools are doing in many cases. And you can't see it on my vector scope so well. But if I come in here and I turn my scopes up, this is actually another good tip. You turn your scopes up and down. You can see what's going on with your vectors as you're pushing stuff around. And so you can, it's cool to use these different types of tools to see what all the different tools are doing. You can actually look at what it does to the ramp, and you can get feedback in all your scopes and stuff, and you can use these tools to start learning the tools, basically, is the best way to put it. The color generators are super useful. If you're sending something to somebody else, I recommend putting a color bar at the beginning of your edit and then maybe a few seconds of black. But put a color bar in there, because a color bar can allow that other editor to use scopes and things of that nature to confirm that they're seeing the same shit you are. Just little kind of advanced things, but little tips and tricks like that can really help you. Scopes are your fucking... I can't do a fucking 8 up. Scopes are super fucking helpful. Learn your scopes. Learn how to use waveforms. Learn how to use your vector scopes. One other thing I'll show you is what I do a lot of times is when I have turn this on. I like to do this setup. I do a full vector scope, and then I do a zoomed vector scope where I go 2 times zoom and a show skin tone indicator. Skin tone indicator is a kind of a lie, but basically this is your neutral line, and skin tones tend to fall on that. So if you have a person in your shot, you can bring that shot up, and you can actually qualify the color by grabbing a picker and say this is a person's face. It's not, but it's red. But you can bring that up, you can qualify it, and then you can highlight it so that you only see the red, and you can see where the red is as compared to your neutral line. So say that was somebody's skin, and look how it's way off the line. Well, I can come in here with offset, and I can drag it over, get it closer to the line. That's not dragging very well, but you get my point. You can use, there we go. I can bring this over and drag it to the line using these tools. And then I can turn my, you see what I did? I just affected that particular fucking red. And I only affected that part of it. And when I turn that node on and off, you can see the change. So this is a way to use palettes. You could also bring up there's tons of things, but you could bring up palettes and you can see where colors live, and then you can work with your offset and other tools to push them to the location where you want them to be. Or maybe you want to match a color to another color, like 2 different reds. You can pull up the reds and you can look at them on the fucking scope, because you can get these lines when you qualify. Oh, this is off. You can get this line and you're like, that red is there. Okay, cool. And if I do a another node here, I can qualify purple. And now I can click between them and I can look at where they are. And I can say, well, I want this red to be more that purple. That purple's over here. So I know that if I grab my offset, let me just reset this, I can drag it more to that purple. And now when I click between them, they're not totally perfect, but they're close. And you see how the other one is actually showing up, because I'm getting closer to my qualified mark, my qualified color. But that gives you kind of an idea of how to start matching color. A little bit advanced, but that's just kind of giving you, the basics of. And dude, qualifiers are the devil. Don't get me wrong. Be careful with qualification. They will break an image faster than any other tool in Resolve, but they can be very helpful for analyzing shit. You know what I mean? And we can definitely do more of this later and get more advanced as we learn. So that's that. All right. Everything that we went through tonight, Garda Rotor, is free. So if you watch if you go back and you watch Greg's grading session, everything that we used, Greg is using free, and we showed how to grade GoPro flat in the free version tonight, basically. And
I think his main question was export settings,
oh wait, what?
like exporting for YouTube. He says he always ends up with massive files.
Well, okay, there's a lot of variables and a lot of roads to go down there. The one thing I want to show you, Greg, actually. So say you wanted to render something, okay? I don't know where I'm at with my project anymore. Everything's turned off. Oh, I'm highlighted. Okay, let me just bring this up again really quick. And then we'll get out of here. So, and we can do another session just talking more about render settings. But, so say I wanted to export this. Well, let's talk about let me just show you a couple things real quick. I want to export this clip. So I come to the edit window. I know I'm here. If I hit Shift A, it marks in and out over my clip. Now, if I go to deliver, right here, render in and out range, that is going to dictate that it is only going to render what I in and out. Now, say I don't want to do that, I can always switch entire timeline, but if I just want to render that clip, that's what I would do. I would just highlight that clip and I would come over here and I would make sure this was on in and out range. I would name it, test clip, whatever the fuck I'm naming it. In the studio version, you can pick what encoder you use. I definitely recommend using NVIDIA if you have studio. Now, one important thing, right now it's rendering 1920 by 1080. Well, you could go here and you could do this and switch it to 4K. And it should come up and say, add higher resolution render. No, you don't want to do this. This is not the way to do this. Okay? No. It's warning you that you've selected a render that is higher than your timeline resolution. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit this gear. My timeline resolution, this is 1920 by 1080. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I'm at 4K. So I'm going to just click on, I'm going to click on the matching resolution and I'm going to hit save. And when I do that, if I was in the edit page, you would see it jump. But now I'm good. I can do my Ultra HD. Now, one important thing I do want to recommend that everyone do for YouTube is come down here to advanced settings. It's already set up in this project. You see this right here? Gamma tag, Rec 709-A. Use this tag, because if you don't, what you're going to find is that on some different systems, like an Apple computer, your shit's going to look washed out, or it's going to look wrong. It's not going to look the way it looks in Resolve. Because Macs specifically they do funky shit with gamma curves, and QuickTime Player is the worst, and it's not color managed properly, and it will display your renders wrong. YouTube also can be affected by this with some renders. So if you're rendering a QuickTime file, coming back up here, rendering QuickTime specifically, that's probably one of the most important ones. If you're rendering QuickTime, use 709A. Otherwise, after you upload to YouTube or something, it might not look the same. It might be dark, or it might look washed out. Your gamma will be shifted. So Rec 709A will help fix that. For me, I'm on a 2997 timeline. If at 4K, if I really care, I'm probably going to I'm going to restrict this to somewhere around 60 to 80 thousands. If I want to keep it a little smaller, I'll restrict it smaller to like 45 in this example. There are plenty of guidelines as far as bitrate. If I'm running 60 frames a second up, I would probably want to be closer to 100 to 120. But yes, you are going to get a big file. The important thing is to understand, guys, too, and I've kind of covered this before, your frame rate is it's going to dictate a lot. So if you're shooting 60 frame on your GoPro, you're eating up a lot of it's going to be a big file, unless you conform to 2997 or something else. I do always manually restrict. I do not use automatic best. I restrict to, and I use this. Now, I usually use variable bitrate, but if it was something I was giving to a client, I would probably do constant bitrate and set it and crank it up. The rest of the stuff I pretty much leave alone unless I need to change it. A lot of times I will also render data levels at full. The interchange can be a little easier, but there are also times like when you're going to and from Premiere from Resolve, be aware of this. Sometimes you need to render video for Premiere, or maybe you need to render full for Premiere or After Effects. So be aware of these functions. I usually just render full, and it's fine. You can do auto, but there are times where you want to change this, and you want to render video instead. I usually render full because I'm making master files that I will retranscode or do something else with. But anyways, there's no magic bullet when it comes to render settings. But as a guideline, I usually go somewhere around here. And for 2997, I'll probably do like 60 to 80. A lot of times I do 80,000. And that's pretty good if I really, really care about it. Now, one other important thing to know about this is once you do this once and you're happy, come up here and create an additional video. Save as a new preset. That's what you want to do. Save as a new preset, and when you do that, you can type in YouTube chiller. I won't do it. I've got other presets, and hit OK, and it's going to create a preset right here. And I have one for shorts. I have one for 4K 30. I have one for Gyroflow. I have an HDR one. I've got YouTube 709A. You can basically set up presets for whatever you're going to send your video to or what it is, and then you have your render settings here. And once you can always update your preset too. So say my Rec 709A, I don't like the fact that was 45K. I want it to be 80,000 from now on. So now I can go update current preset, and every time I come and go from that, it should come up as 80K. and this one has my Rec 709 tag on here. This is an important render setting. I would say for decent, not terribly large files and decent quality, this is a pretty good preset. 264 NVIDIA. You may not be able to use NVIDIA. You may not have this option on free. But then, yeah, restrict to about 80K is usually what I do. I will say that it can get more complicated than this by a long shot. And coming out of here for a sec. With certain video cards, certain computers, certain situations, with the free version, if you have rendering artifacts, it can happen. I'm not going to lie. The native H.264, H.265 encoders in Windows are not always the best. There's a couple ways to approach that. And if you run into that problem, just message me and I'll help you. Because there's a couple ways to approach it. I recommend to everybody watching, download a copy of Shutter Encoder. It's a free transcoding program, and it's mad useful, and it's super fast, and it's super good. Shutter Encoder, one of my favorite programs. If you have a situation where you're getting blocks or artifacts or funk in your render when you're on a Windows computer specifically, and you're doing H.264, you may want to render to DNHR or GoPro Cineform or a different codec. Those will render what we would call it is render a master file, a better, higher quality, bigger file, and then use Shutter Encoder to make it what you need for YouTube or whatever else. And I'll actually drop the Shutter Encoder link in the chat. But
it's time to level up your videos. Go to motion.
What color space tag did you say to use?
709-A.
I don't have that.
You should.
Just 709.
In the gamma tags? Not
Oh,
it's not
gamma
it's not
tag.
it's not color space, sorry, it's gamma tags.
My bad. Yep, that's right. All right.
It's a good habit to use that one. It's not absolutely necessary in every situation or every codec, but it isn't going to hurt anything either. It's not going to hurt anything, because what a tag is, it's just metadata. So if it applies to the system that's using it, it will use it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're not actually grading in Rec 709-A. You're grading in Rec 709 Gamma 2.2, but you're putting a meta tag on there for 709A, so that way if it's played back on a QuickTime based system, it's going to look right. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we basically, like I said, we just kind of went through a basics, getting started on a node tree, a way to put that node tree in every project you start from here on out, some versioning, yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. So let me just see what export settings for YouTube. I just want to make sure I've tried to answer his question as best as we can for tonight. Answer John's
Quick
question.
render and see what comes out. See what it looks like on my phone.
Yeah.
That's my test. If it looks good on my phone, I'm happy.
Well, just remember that phones, specifically, well, they all can do it. Just make sure that if you are doing that, if you use night shift or any of those functions where it changes your screen from blue to yellow or yellow to blue, night shift is a big one on iPhones. If you watch videos on your iPhone and it's late at night and you have night shift on, your shit is going to look yellow. It's going to change the color. So if you are going to use your phone or iPad or anything else to watch your renders after the fact on YouTube or anything, make sure you turn off all that bullshit. Make sure you're aware of it. And at the
actually
end,
completely adjust the color space of your phone.
well, the other important thing to realize is that we're grading for Rec 70922. An iPhone is a P3 color space. An Android could be a different color space. It may not be Rec 709 exactly.
You can go in and change it.
You can go in and change it on many systems. And so the point is to know what the fuck your device is doing before you don't go down the rabbit hole of rendering something and looking at your phone and be like, oh, it doesn't look the same, and then making a bunch of changes to your grade because it might just be your phone fucking it up.
Yeah,
so don't forget that. And that's a rabbit hole that will fuck you.
Yeah, no,
if you're not careful.
You mentioned, I remember it was a long time ago, we were talking about color, and I was looking at something on my phone, and you're like, it looks fucking blue. Why does it look blue? I was like, bro, I don't see any goddamn blue. And he's like, there's something wrong with your phone.
Well, that's why we talk about using a calibrated display. And unfortunately, phones and iPads aren't.
And I looked at my phone, and I definitely had color shift.
They're not calibratable currently. Some high-end Windows tablets have enough windows in them that you could calibrate it. Basically.
Oh no, it was my computer screen. My computer screen had night mode turned on, and I was color grading off that.
Yeah, that's another one, man. If you're a Apple Mac user, the Macs do it automatically. You got to make sure you turn that shit off. If you don't, you could be grading all day, and then fucking at nighttime, all of a sudden your whole shit changes color, and you're like, and if you were working on it the whole time, you may not even realize it at the time, and then you might make adjustments. You might go to a different clip and be like, at the time color night shift changes, you are clicking between clips, and you may not even, like, all of a sudden, why does everything look fucking yellow? Or why does, or you may not even catch it initially because you just started a project and you push everything blue. So then when you actually render it and put it out, everything is wrong because the fucking computer changed the color of your screen because of the time. And it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we should
Yep.
Call
All right,
it.
guys. Bye. We love you guys. I hope you guys got some good out of this, and please leave me comments. Think about questions. The biggest thing I got to do is figure out how to get a middle mouse clicker going, because my trackball doesn't have one, and I don't have another mouse out here. I'm gonna see if maybe I have another mouse somewhere, but I need to get that fixed. But other than that, I can build a simpler node tree that fits on the screen. I don't need to have my tree up there. One other thing that you should know too is that where you did the power grade, Greg, there's the equivalent of that in the edit page. It's called power bins, and you can save clips and stills in a power bin, like your logo. You can put them in there, and you can save them, and they'll be in every project you open.
Nice. Well, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to have my logo and intro and stuff like that. I gotta do that.
So that is a pretty handy fucking thing to have. Did I close my remote?
Some dirt bikes. Yeah.
Oh, the fuck? Somehow I did something crazy. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. But you guys, I can show you guys that stuff more later. Remind me, and I will actually show you that, Greg, about how to use power bins. But power bins are the same, just like the power grades. They show up in every project. You can put your logos, your intro clips, things like that in there. And then every time you start a new project, those will be there. And if you just go into the media tab or Google it, power bin, you can find it on your own and see how to do it. The other important thing is that with in your color window where you have your stills and your power bins, you can import and export to those independent bins. You can also create more than one power bin. So I have a power bin for looks, and I have a power bin for grades, and like more technical layouts of like just node trees. But then I also have like orange and teal that I created in my looks power bin, and you can rename them. So you can have a looks power bin, you can have a grades power bin, you can have a base, you can have stuff that just kind of work in progress. So learn some of that shit. Start utilizing that, because man, I wish I knew that in the beginning, because man, it would have saved me so much fucking time. Like seriously. But with that, we'll see you next week, and we love you guys, and you guys be good, make some cool shit, and bye.
Bye.
Fucking split ass. I could do a fucking split ass. Done a million times. I could do a fucking split ass. You pop out, and then roll, then that is split ass. Fucking split ass. I could do a fucking split ass. You pop out, and then roll.
I mean,
pop it. You roll.
I don't buy into
then
whatever
you go
fucking
in
bullshit you're saying.
to the shit. Powerly, blind, powerly, then I could do a fucking split ass. Roll, then that is split ass. Fucking split ass. I could do a fucking split ass. You pop out, and then roll.
I mean,
pop it.
That's pretty much the only trick that I know.
You guys.
It's Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. Wednesday.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.